Let's do a mic check. Who with me? Let's get the comments up. You guys didn't let me know the comments were not up yesterday. What was up with that? A small, short announcement, real fast, if you guys don't mind. I don't know if you can tell, if you can even hear me yet. Mic check. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, Michelle Hardy. I'm a little under the weather. Yeah, I got a little bug. I had it yesterday. It didn't really hit me. But last night, around 6 o'clock, between 6 and 6:30, wasn't feeling too well. I could feel it. You know how you know when you're getting sick. Well, it got me. By 6:30, I laid down in the bed. I was out. I was gone. Skipped dinner. Thank you, Donna. She said, Mike, sounds good. I skipped dinner. So you guys know I'm gonna sound different today. And I don't have a lot of time today. I don't feel good. So I'm gonna do as much as I possibly can. Thank you, Jack. Tracy Dillingham said, that's funny. I have COVID. Wow. Caught that shit over the phone yesterday. I'm gonna blame TD. I'm gonna blame my sister Tracy Dillingham. You gave me that shit over the phone. Damn it, something told me not to take calls yesterday. No, I'm actually not feeling well. My head feels I feel like it's ready to explode. Y'all know how it is. I'm just tired, drained from, the bugs. I'm a big fruit eater. Okay. So I've been eating a lot of oranges, for the vitamin C, a lot of bananas, things of that nature. I haven't eaten any real food since 1 o'clock yesterday, meaning, something solid. Everything after that lunch I had yesterday. I ate right before I came on the air, a solid meal. I haven't had anything solid yet. I've been eating a lot of fruit, drinking a lot of, my water, drinking a lot of that, trying to cleanse my system a little bit. So bear with me a little bit if you don't mind, guys. Like I said, short show if you guys don't mind, unless you want to call in and host the show, and I'll kind of sit back, fall back. If you want to come in and pardon me, host the show today, feel free to call in. And if you got some sense, the mic is yours. But if you on some, some other shit, we ain't doing all that. But that all being said, man, I don't really have a lot on the plate today, other than the fact that I'm gonna keep watching this clock. I'm gonna see how soon, you know, I'm, you know, actually I feel a little bit better. I feel better since I hit the power button. You guys tend to turn me up a little bit. What up, Tony? Tony, hey, what up? You guys tend to make me feel better just by being here sitting with me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to sit here and puff and pout and cry and shit about how I feel. I don't want to do that the whole show. But I did want to let you guys know at the beginning. So if somebody come in and be like, damn, bro, yo, your energy is low. Somebody put it in the screen and let them know Tracy Dillingham gave Wyatt COVID over the air yesterday. I'm just kidding. Get well soon, Tracy. Get well soon. I don't know. I just know that a lot's been going on in the media. I'm not big on following up media stories because I just don't like, I'll be honest, I haven't liked the media since I've been um an independent person, like out here in the world, um calling my own shots, being in a situation once or twice in my life where the media has been called in due to a situation that I've been involved in, and they put it out in the world for the world to hear it in a narrative in a way that was nowhere near the truth. And I learned early. I learned then that the media has no intentions of being truthful. They'll tell the truth if the truth is what'll sell, but their intentions are to make you tune in because they understand their audience. The media understands that they're going to have more people like Huey. Okay, Huey, like Huey Newton. My bad, Tony. Tony Huey. The media understands its audience. They understand who they talking to. They understand how far and how long you gonna listen before you already have the story and you run off and tell some other people the same story and it's just as wrong as how the media. Matter of fact, they report it to people. The people run off and make the story worse. So now it's quadruple wrong, double wrong, triple wrong, quadruple wrong. And the media understands that and they don't care. They use words like allegedly to cover themselves. So it's not like they're reporting and it's a fact. So they say allegedly because they say that somebody told them that, and that covers them legally. But that all being said, the media don't care if they ruin your life. They don't care if they don't care if the story is if it's in the 90-10 mixture. They don't care. They just want to make sure that they tell you a story that'll have you tuned in just enough time for the advertisers to be able to say, "Oh, their ratings are strong. Let's spend our money with them. Let's spend them." And they know who they're talking to. Media knows the mindset. They know the attention span. They know all of that of the people that watch their shows, their programs. They know that all you can frame. They have gotten so good at what they do. They know how to frame a story and let it fit in a place where you already have it figured out. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, that's how they do over there. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even heard the whole thing. You know, you just all you got to do is hear a little bit of what your mindset is already and where you are in your head, and that is enough for them to run off and run a story. And I'm going to tell you something. At one point, now I got talked out of it. I remember one time I almost filed a lawsuit against a media outlet in Ohio because of a story that they ran on me and my company. And I was like, whoa, you guys didn't even get an opportunity to hear my side of the story. And then when you didn't get a chance to hear my side of the story because you were calling me and I didn't realize what was going on, so you left messages and I didn't get back in touch with you within that 20 to 30-minute window because I'm busy, you run off and run the story the way you want it to be said. And then you say at the end of the story, we tried to reach Randall Wyatt and he was unavailable. Now, what does that sound like to you when somebody's unavailable? It don't say we tried to call and Huddy Hud. Exactly, bro. Exactly. You know what I'm talking about? Am I bullshitting Huddy Hud or not? See what I'm saying? Had everything just strictly got lied on, cost me thousands of dollars, cost me contracts, and I was really about, you know what? If they lucky I wasn't the same person I was 10 years before that. Because the dude who had created that whole false narrative about what was going on was a crook. He was stealing money. He was, jacking the, what do you say, Huddy Hud? He was jacking the money off. You know what I'm saying? And he then went into this town or this little city and told them that I, did some things with their money and it involved children. And I'm like, bro, the media don't care about my side of the story. They don't care that everything he's lying about is right here. All they got to do is come to the location, and everything he said I didn't have is sitting right here ready to go. He just don't have the money to pay for it. So he blamed my organization. And I was like, that shit is crazy. And the media put it on Channel 5, and they all ran that story. And they said that I was not available. I couldn't be found. You would have thought that me and my staff and we didn't ran to overseas or something trying to avoid this situation. And it was far from the truth. And then here's the backstory of it all. When all the dope boys came up, Huddy Hud know what I'm talking about. When all the dope boys came up and was like, hey man, what type of shit is this? You doing this to the kids and blah, 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 blah. Cause they were some of the kids played on the teams and stuff. They come up there, they ain't got no problem with me because they just trying to figure out what's really going on. And I'm talking about the hardcore of the city. The dudes that just don't give a F. You know, they tell the truth about, you know, they gonna let you know what it is. They turn around and not too much, Hud. Not too much. I don't want no back, you know what I'm saying? I can tell the truth, but I don't need no, you know. You got too many people that be spinning shit and putting stuff out there, and that's not even really the place though. But not too much. Just fall back, listen, and when I start lying, just say, no, correct me when I'm wrong. That's all you got to do, Hud. But when the boys came up there, meaning the guys, the fathers, the mamas, start coming up to the location and was like, wait a minute, we paid our money to this organization, meaning the company, the organization that came in and put me on tried to blast me. They came in and was like, they came up to me and was like, here go, we paid our money to them. And I'm like, here, look, here go your kids' stuff right here. Now, the reason why you don't have it in your hand is because they never came up here with the remaining balance of the money. And now you only got to tell a few of them because you know it was hood. You ain't got to tell a few. You only got to tell, you know, when the truth is some raw stuff, when the truth is raw, they had skates going back down to the football field telling everybody the truth. Wyatt and them didn't do that shit. Our stuff is sitting right up there in that store. It's sitting right there. It's up there. They owe that man money. They owe him money. All that. Remember that, Hoodie Hud? Where's our money at? We paid out. Meanwhile, everybody in the surrounding area who's seen the shit on the news, see, they don't see what's really going on in real time. They don't hear what the parents are talking about. They don't hear the innocent guy who got blamed for everything. They don't hear his side of the story. They don't know the truth. The media has already stamped it as this business up here took these kids' money, and this is a shame. They'll be out there in cut off corduroys and t-shirts in their first football game because this guy stole their money. Get out of here. And I wanted to turn around and sue the media company so bad. My lawyer, Dan Whiteley, was like, Wyatt, this is, you know, what are we going to do about this? I mean, it's going to cost thousands of dollars. You'll never recoup it. You're suing an organization that doesn't have any money. The guy who created all this mess don't have anything, or he wouldn't have been stealing their money. What's the point? I said, well, I'm going, you know, this is the type of stuff that scars a business and puts them out of business, no matter what the truth is. Everybody's not going to hear the truth. 2 weeks later, I get a call from the administration, from the school administration. 2 weeks later, call me in and they canceled my contract. They canceled the contract. Now, mind you, I never sought out their contract. I never went to that administration and said, hey, this is what I offer to you and your organization. And, you know, I'll put a bid in. I never did any of that. They came to me and asked me, am I available to provide a service for them? I accepted to do business with them. So, you know, yeah, I lost business, but it's not like it was business that I went out and solicited. This was business that came to me, and I provided a service that was out of the realm of what I normally do. You understand what I'm saying? And it was the media who created all this false narrative of what the deal was. And when I asked the school administration, I said, well, what's the problem? That's been clarified, and that's clear. Matter of fact, everybody knows who's part of that organization that I didn't do anything wrong, nor did my organization. You know what they said? Don't matter. We don't want to be associated. You know, we have the kids' best interest at heart. We don't want to be associated with anything that's dealing with people misappropriating funds or money being lost. And, you know, and I'm like, fine. I mean, how am I going to argue that? You know what I'm saying? I get it. But nobody went back and said, I mean, Channel 5, Channel 9, Channel 12, none of the organizations came back to me and said, hey, how did that shit work out? Did they tell the truth? I mean, how did this work out? Did you ever give those kids their money back, or how did that work out? It didn't matter to the news outlets how the outcome came out. They wasn't there for that. They was there just to put some shit out in the sky. They went down to the football field, had the kids out there running around looking like somebody didn't jack them for their money. They out there practicing, and I'm looking, and my company is looking bad. And they never came back. And when I was returning the phone calls, to the news media outlets, none of them returned my phone call. None of them, because the story was over with. You know, the cut line time had went by. So whatever I had to say didn't matter no more. They made their, they went out there and put the shit out there. I know some people that watch this show that's been in the same situation. Not to mention 25 years of my life dealing in the court system. I know some guys that have been accused of things in the media, and they've been in my office, and I could tell you, 50-50. Most of them never get indicted for the things that the media drove up and drove it up high and said, this guy this guy that, this girl that, blah, 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 blah. Media said all that shit, and the story, and it never went anywhere. Never went anywhere. And the media never go back and do retractions and say, hey, you know what? Sorry, we effed up this person's life for about 2 or 3 days. They never come back. Let me go back to the phone. Let me go to the phone lines before I get into my topic real fast. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Wyatt, it's Tracy. I wanted to call first because I'm not going to take a lot of time.
No, I'm sick because of you.
Well, you're going to get sick today again.
What's up, sis?
I wanted to tell you a quick true story about the media. So
say it again. I'm sorry. You cut
quick
out.
True story about the media.
Okay.
I am a 1993 graduate of Wilberforce University, majored in communications with a concentration on broadcast journalism, but I fell in love with radio, right? Go figure.
Okay.
So in 1994, I had a very unfortunate accident. Unfortunate life-changing event.
Okay.
And I can't name the person's name because we're fast forward 26, almost 30 years. Okay. But I want to protect this person's identity. I had a goddaughter who was 4 years old who was murdered by her mother. Her mother was schizophrenic, and she came home one night and asked her little baby girl, my goddaughter, do you want to meet Jesus? And my goddaughter just said, yeah, she didn't know. Jesus. And her mother proceeded to stab her to death. And she turned the knife on herself and stabbed herself all up through her liver and whatever, but she did not die. So as it played out, the morning that we were burying my goddaughter, her mother was being arraigned in court. And so the media split in two places. But what made me change my mind about being any type of news reporter was when we came out of the funeral on our way to the burial, they wouldn't let the media on the premises of the funeral home. I guess it was Thompson Hall in Jordan on Gilbert at that time. Okay. But they were hiding in bushes, jumping out on people, trying to get comments. And I'm watching all of this and I'm thinking, these people don't have any moral compass. They don't care. Like, how do you sleep at night when you're, hey, we want to know, what was the mom like? And I mean, I get it. They were doing their job. But to just attack people and hide in the bushes to get a story, that really sat with me forever. And it made me change my whole shift and focus on journalism, because I know you have to be a certain type of person to get a story. It's just like, when everybody was racing to put the story out about Kobe Bryant's death before his wife was even notified. Like, that just really sat with me too, because again, you just don't care. Everybody wants to be first and everybody wants to, have the breaking news and break the story. And that's not of my character. And I had to fall back and do something else.
Yeah, no, I understand that. That's one of the reasons why I don't have a lot of guests. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you, because I ain't got really no room for the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm sitting here talking to somebody and I know, like for instance, I'm cool and I'm not ashamed to say I'm cool with somebody. I'm ashamed to say that I'm so cool with them that we hang out. I ain't never hanging out with them. Just because you grow up with somebody, or you know them at a young age, and they decided to do some different things in life, you might not stop loving them, or you know what I mean. You might not hang out with them, but to say I know them and I'm cool with them don't necessarily mean I agree with their morals and principles. But like, I could never have Freeway Ricky on the show, even though he checks in all the time. Man, we're cool. He's not the same person he used to be, but what he was at that particular time is a problem, and it don't fit my morals and my principles. So I can't bring him on the show and interview him because I can't use soft gloves. And you know, I gotta be able to. I want to tell the truth about this. I want you know, all the excuses that a lot of bad people have about circumstances and all that old stuff. I ain't on that, because I'm from that world of we all got choices and we don't have to do what we do. This young man, he ain't young no more. He's 46 years old. I call him my nephew. He just got sentenced to 24 and a half years for doing some shit that him and I've been talking about for 15 years that he need to stop doing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I ain't got no love for people, situations when it turned bad. I got love for you, for the person. But I don't feel sorry for you when you end up getting that gavel down on you and you get that time because you knew what you was dancing with.
Right.
So no, I'm not going to be a journalist and softball questions and have a softball game and do all that, which I'm not doing that, sis. So that's why I don't have guests, because you're not going to get a council person over here. You're not going to get the mayor over here or no damn congressperson over here. And I'm going to act like they smart as, you know, sharp as the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ask different type of questions to put their ass on the line of what's more effective in our communities. I'm not going to make it seem like they heroes. I'm not going to do that.
Right. I get it. But yeah, I just wanted to share that experience. You know, just talking about the media. That really changed me when I lost my goddaughter. I just saw how low that they would go, so low they got in the weeds, literally, so to speak, just to get the story and just to be able to spin it the way that they wanted to. And it was really sad and unfortunate because it didn't highlight the illness, and it didn't highlight the good person that my goddaughter was. Even at 4 years old, she was the light of the room. But you know, it's all about that sensationalism. She killed her daughter.
And you know what? You know, they wouldn't do it if people wasn't so acceptive to it. If we didn't fall for it, they wouldn't do it. It's like if we hold them accountable, or if we had better heads on our shoulders and wasn't listening to all this shit. That's why you get people out in the streets when they don't have all the information. Two situations, Tracy, I'll run it by you real fast. Breonna Taylor in Louisville. I couldn't talk about it. I didn't have enough information. I'm not going to go by what the news is telling me about what happened that night when the police shot the house and all that. I'm not going to go by what they talking about, because what they trying to do is get us all out in the streets anyway. I didn't want to have that conversation about Breonna Taylor until I had better information, until they released some of the court, you know, some of the transcripts from the police reports. That's when I wanted to have my conversation. And then the situation up in Detroit, where the police chief, there was a shooting of a young man in the street, and the police chief released the video, the body cam, right away. And it was Chief Craig, I believe, up in Detroit. He did something that was against normal protocol. He released the police video right away because they were already at the doors. This was a little bit after George Floyd. I don't know if you remember this, but that boy got shot up there in Detroit. Everybody was getting their shit ready to get out in them streets and tear Detroit up because another cop shot another brother. And I'm saying to myself, y'all can't keep doing that because you don't have all the information. Chief Craig went against protocol, released the video right away, and it showed that man shooting at the police, running, shooting back at them, and the police shot after he shot. See what I'm saying? And they shot him. Once they released that information, then it was like, what y'all gonna say? You can't go out and protest and shoot. Yeah, this dude shot at the police. But, you know, if we don't have the information, I try to stay away from having a whole lot of comment about it.
Yeah, I get it. It's important to gather all the facts first, so you wouldn't, as a media person, quote unquote media person, spend more time having to retract and apologize That's just standard media protocol anyway. But again, if you're rushing to be the breaking news and you want to just throw stuff out there, that's what happens. You end up having to retract and you end up looking silly with egg on your face because you wanted to be first.
Yeah, but the media very seldom do that. The media channel, the news medias, they very seldom come back and say, hey, we got it wrong. What we said yesterday or last week, it didn't quite work out that way. That's not quite what happened.
Well, I don't think you have to anymore. Nobody has to be right. You know what I mean? In this day and age, you don't have to be right anymore. You either just say, well, we said what we thought it is, or you wait for the lawsuit. But they don't really apologize anymore because nobody feels they have to. They just, we live in a world now where people say, I said what I said. And that's, the bottom line. But you just have to be more responsible when you're dealing with people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it does. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to say it while you're on the phone, sis. That's why I had a problem with your leadership in the city of Cincinnati up there when they were talking about that damn fight out in the street, in the downtown, that brawl they called it. I had a problem with the leadership saying what they said because they had more info. They had let me just say this. We had limited information. We had information that we seen on cell phones that hit social media, right? But your leaders had the information or had access to the information from the prosecutor's office of why they're pursuing a felony case on these folks. And they still stood at that podium trying to act like it was an injustice on Black folks in the city. And they still do to this day. But
it's not what you see, it's what they want you to see or what they're trying to make you see.
Exactly. And see, I think that that's bad leadership because they stepped on that, they stepped in that field of, I'm going to keep my people riled up. I'm going to look like I'm part of the Black group and I'm going to keep my people riled up. And when in fact, they knew that them indictments was going off of different information that everybody was talking about. They knew that. They can't convince me of that. And I'm sorry that I got to be the bad guy or the black sheep of the family. But that's why I don't do interviews and shit, because I'm not going to sit back and act like I don't know the truth about how they do shit.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not
gonna hold you, Wyatt, because you're gonna say that I gave you something else if I talk any longer.
Shit, it's too late. I don't think you can give me COVID twice.
Ain't no telling. With these new viruses, ain't no damn telling.
That's true.
I don't feel real bad. Let me tell you, this is like my 5th time having COVID. This is my 5th time having COVID, and everyone is different. And knock on wood, so far, this is the mildest case ever. Okay. I got it from work. I do know that. So
I gotta ask you a question.
I wasn't going in. I'm just working from home.
I gotta ask you a question. I gotta ask you a question before you hang up, if you don't mind. I don't know if this is too personal or not. Tell me if it is. You said you've had COVID 5 times, sis?
Yeah.
Did you get any of the COVID shots? Did you get the first one or anything? The booster?
I did get the first round of vaccines, and it is the worst mistake that I've ever made. I'm not going to sound like quote unquote an anti-vaxxer, but I will tell you my experience. So I had the Pfizer vaccine, and I'm not going to say alleged because I'm going to tell you what I read. That's supposed to be factual. They said that the Pfizer vaccine makes it look like you have breast cancer. All of a sudden, I went for a mammogram and they said, hey, we want to look at something else here.
Yeah.
I didn't end up having breast cancer, but they wanted to watch some cysts that developed. And ironically, it was on the side that I got vaccinated on, right?
I got you.
Another thing that happened right away was as soon as I got the vaccine, I say maybe a week or 2 later, my arm just started getting limp on that side and just started swinging. And so I went to a specialist. He said, oh, you just have tennis elbow. I'm like, tennis elbow my ass. Nothing was wrong with my arm until I got this vaccine.
Right.
So that lasted for about, I'd say 6 months. And I never got a vaccine again after. Oh, I also developed heart issues. They said that the lining of my heart wall, became very thick. I felt like I was having a heart attack every 2 weeks. So there was a lot of side effects that came with that. It was no wonder why we had to sign a book when we went and got the damn shot. You sign your whole life and rights away. Yeah, but I didn't do anything after that.
Okay. Well, and the shot didn't even work, obviously, for you because you've had COVID 5 times.
But not at all.
All right. Well, sis, I'm sorry to hear all of that. But yeah, I just know that. And, of course, the media pushed that again. And then, of course, your government pushed that shot on us and said if you don't get this shot, you'll get fired from your job. If you don't do, now that's dictatorship if you ask me, but okay. You know, everybody will say what they got to say about that. But whenever somebody makes you do something to your body, and then a lot of politicians in the DC area were walking around knocking on black folks' door like we were daffy dumb stupid and saying, hey, you know, hold our hands to try to make us take a shot that maybe we agree with or maybe we didn't agree with. But I found that to be really crazy, that for some odd reason, Tracy, I just believe that, you know, this government treat black folks or act like black folks are dumb as a can of paint. And it just offends me to the fullest. It's just the craziest shit in the world. And I don't know why we don't talk about that more. They talk about voter ID, and I don't know a person that don't have an ID. I don't know a person who don't have access to be able. Your boy went on the radio station, and this is how they convert their words. And I know you probably heard it. And if you didn't, some other people did. Your congressman went on the radio station and made it sound like getting an ID was the hardest thing since Chinese checkers. He went in there and said, "Don't nobody have $169 to get a birth certificate." Now, what he said before that was he was getting a passport. Now, passports cost that kind of money, but you need a birth certificate to get a passport. So what he did is he tried to slick their ass because he know the audience, he know who he talking to. But what he failed to realize is a lot of black folks go get birth certificates for a whole lot of reasons, and it ain't that hard to do. And they don't cost nothing but $5, $6 or maybe 10 by now, because I ain't had to get one in 20 years. So how much is it now? $10, $15, if that. And they still talking about people who was born in 1922 who didn't even have birth certificates. How many people are voting that was born in 22?
Right.
They about dead and gone and over with. No offense. I'm just saying, you still using things that don't even really count anymore. It's just little shit like that. So he said, don't nobody have $169. It was $170 to get a birth certificate. No, it wasn't. It was $170 to get probably your passport. But he said it so fast and slick, like them politicians do, that was just one so obvious that even us had to, somebody should have checked his ass and been like, whoa, wait a minute, bro. A birth certificate ain't no motherfucking $160, $170. Who you think you talking to? But of course, the host didn't say nothing to him. So, he may have said something, but he didn't correct him when he said it. I just was baffled. I was like, birth certificate costs no $100, and that's what they want you to believe. I don't like the fact that you got a group of people out here calling black folks disenfranchised. We voter suppression. We're not smart enough to get an ID. We got ID to do everything in this world. Everything that we do in America that damn near is grown folk shit. An ID is required. Is it racist that you need an ID to fly? Is it racist that you need an ID to buy a pack of cigarettes? Is it racist that you need an ID to go into certain nightclubs and stuff like that to show that you're 21? Is it racist that it's just ridiculous. And I don't understand why we stand up. I get it. A lot of y'all don't want to say nothing because that's your side that you support pumping that bullshit.
Yeah.
All right.
You're right.
They won't say nothing, and that's fine. You're no different than that police officer that you always say is just as racist as the racist cop because he won't say nothing.
But just know when they're talking about that disenfranchised person and that person is not educated enough to know, they're still talking about you and you playing on that team.
Absolutely. They talking about all of you. All right. They talking about all of you. They ain't talking about the few, the Miss Jenkins that was born in 1922, who's 97 years old. They ain't talking about her. They talking about
her grandson too.
Yeah, they talking about her whole loin. They talking about her whole loin, her whole lineage, her whole family. They ain't talking about it's just crazy. Here's the other one for you, Tracy. Yesterday I said something. What's your thoughts on this real fast? And I know you got to go. What's your thoughts on the fact that you got those white people out in Minnesota calling black people house niggas, blowing whistles in their face, calling ICE agents that are black house niggas? Now, when did we get to a point where we allow any white person to call us a nigga?
Excuse me. I have a problem with that, but my bigger problem with ICE is the Hispanics that are on ICE going after their own people.
Going after criminals?
Going after their own people.
If they're criminals, you got a problem with that?
I have a problem with them going after their own
So
people.
there shouldn't be any.
We protect our people too. Let's be clear. We will protect our people too. But what will make you?
So you basically saying there should be no black police officers because black police officers should not arrest black criminals.
Black police officers aren't sending people to concentration camps and sending them out of the country and splitting up families.
They sending them to jail. That's splitting families. What are you talking about? Police officers split families all the time.
We can dance around, but I just don't understand why you would sign up to be an ICE agent, knowing that when they get finished with you helping them play roundup, they're gonna come knocking on your door too.
Oh, so they're not citizens. The ICE agents aren't citizens.
There's some people that have been arrested that have been citizens. Wyatt, come on now, I know you know that.
And they've been.
They ain't out here checking for IDs. They ain't even going and getting court orders to go up in people's houses.
Well,
this is all a game around us.
Hold on. This is what I'd like to know. How do you know that? Based on what? Huh? Based on what information? How do you know that that's what they're doing? Who told you
people
that?
On videos that we've seen saying, "Let me get my ID, let me get my birth certificate," and they still getting slammed in the ground eating concrete.
Well, let me just say
there's been people that say, "Show me your warrant where you can come in and search," and they just act like, "Well, I don't need no warrant."
Okay, I haven't. Maybe that's not in my algorithm, but let me just say this.
I can send you a few videos.
Yeah, please do. But now let me say this to you. The only people that I've been seeing, to be honest with you, Tracy, and I'm not saying that what you're saying is not right. I'm not saying what you're saying is not true. But what I've been seeing are the ones that cause the most problems are those protesters out there that are stopping the ICE agents from doing what they're doing. Those are the ones that I see getting body slammed.
The ones that are just blowing whistles and standing there screaming, "Get out of here."
Now they doing a little bit more than that. You got to admit that. They not like Black Lives Matter.
You might have to send me some videos.
Huh?
You might have to send me some videos because I haven't seen anybody disrupting. I've just seen peaceful protesters. Maybe that's what's in my algorithm.
That's okay. Yeah, probably so. So, okay. So what we'll do, we'll exchange some videos.
Okay.
Because basically with me sitting in Florida and you sitting in Ohio, the only way that we really can tell what the truth is somebody has to report it. And you and I just had a conversation about the news media.
Right.
And we know that the news media don't fly straight. So the news media is going to tell us what they want us to hear based on whatever narrative they're pushing. Because you and I haven't really seen. Now I've gone to Phoenix, because of my mom, and I seen the situation out there. And what I'm telling you is, how do you export all these immigrants out of all these different cities and not have the same problem that they haven't in this one particular city? I just think there's a lot of propaganda going on. You cannot export 80,000 people in 4 different states without the same problem going on just in one state. How does this one isolated city have that much of a problem, but the other cities don't? It just doesn't make any sense.
Because it's just like what you said. That's the city that's fighting back.
No. The other cities have the same situation because those are sanctuary cities, and their administration is saying they're not cooperating with the ICE and the government either. Like in Chicago, they're not cooperating with ICE. They're not cooperating, but you don't hear about the same stuff that's going on in Minnesota. You don't hear about that's going on in Chicago. Number one, if you look at Chicago, Black folks are standing up to it because they see the repercussions of what's going on with the immigrants shift. They see it. They know that they're starting to pay the price for all that stuff now. That's why they property taxes.
Have ICE agents killed anybody in those other cities though?
Not that I'm aware of. See what I'm saying?
Maybe that's the difference.
Wait a minute. How many immigrants have they killed in Minnesota?
Was it the 2, the Renee lady and then the doctor?
No, you tell me. You up on it. You tell me. How many immigrants have they killed in Minnesota?
The 2 videos that I saw were the 2 that got killed. They weren't immigrants. The one lady was driving by, that was a white woman.
Protesters,
and
right?
then the other one, was the nurse.
Right.
Wasn't he a white man too?
Yeah, protesters.
But those were high profile because ICE actually killed somebody. I don't know about the immigrants. I'm talking about people that were just randomly protesting that, quote unquote, got in the way.
People that were peacefully protesting based on what you said, right?
It didn't look like they were doing anything to me that was
because
worthy of being killed.
No, I don't think anybody is. The only person that I think is worthy of being killed is somebody that poses a threat on somebody that if you don't shoot them before they shoot you, then you're gonna get it. That's a person that's worthy of getting shot and killed. I don't think anybody that, if you don't pose a threat to me, if you say you're gonna beat my ass and I got a gun in my pocket, I don't think I should be able to just shoot you because you said you was gonna beat my ass. A threat or something like that. I don't believe in that. Okay. The only person that I believe that should get punished by death in a moment is if you're threatening my life with something that could kill me. Words can't kill me. Probably a punch can't kill me. But I don't know if I'd let the person get in my space, but I don't know if I would take their life if they did. But if you coming at me with a car, I'm probably going to shoot you. If you coming at me, now the nurse guy, I don't even know what happened there. I mean, you got to understand, the police are in this world of when they yell gun, 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 that's when they lose their mind because they want to go home just like everybody else. And that's probably why I'm not cut out to be a cop, because if somebody, I know how crazy people are when it comes down to guns. Okay, like when people, if you look at a lot of the people that shooting up these schools and stuff, Tracy, they have total disregard for life. And a lot of people don't care who they take with them. So a person that wake up every day and deal with people like that every day in real life, they deal with those type of people every day, all day. They hear the stories of other, like the officer that got shot yesterday. They hear the stories about these officers getting shot. We don't hear all those stories. We don't see what they see. So when they go to work every day on go. If somebody pull a gun, I'm shooting them first. And that's what was so sad about Sonny Kim in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Asian guy. Okay.
I remember.
That was so sad because he was a police officer that was doing exactly like a lot of people say they should do. Well, the dude pulled a gun on him and he tried to talk him off the ledge, basically, and the dude shot the cop anyway. He didn't use force. He didn't try to shoot him before he shot him. He tried to talk him out of it and he got shot. Now, when you look at that, other police officers are going to say, it ain't going to be me. They ain't going to shoot me. If they crazy enough to have a gun or crazy enough to be out here with a weapon, they crazy enough to know that that's definitely something that's going to make us take you out. Then they look at you as saying, hey, you have total disregard for life. That's what I mean. That's what I would think. If you walk out your house right now, if you call 911, walk out your house and the police come around the corner 3 cars deep, and you walk out pointing a gun, chances are they're going to shoot you.
Yeah.
Because they think you have total disregard for life.
We could go so deep in that rabbit hole because I want to say Tamir Rice, but we'd be on the phone for another hour. But I'm gonna get off of here.
Okay, babe.
Because I'm still working, even if I'm at home.
You're at home working.
You feel better.
You too.
All righty.
Take it easy. Thanks for engaging.
Bye bye.
All right, bye bye. That was Tracy Dillingham. My sister gave me COVID. I don't know where I don't have COVID. I just have a cold. So bear with me. I know some people were trying to call in when we were on the phone. You guys are going to have to bear with me. I am stopped up and all that. It's just like, I don't know why people sit back and act like there was not going to be a reaction of what happened with all these illegal immigrants coming into a country when Texas filed lawsuits against the government because the government was not giving them access. They were not giving them what they needed to stop people from crossing the border illegally. We were on this show for two and a half years ago talking about the repercussions of just letting people in. And I told you right here on the show, watch how everybody get when it's time to remove these folks. Y'all gonna have so much compassion for them when it's time to remove them, but you had no compassion for the 13-year-old girls on their way to America getting raped out in the desert. You had no compassion for all the cartels that were stealing people in Mexico and forcing them to jump the gates over here in America and working those people as slaves and mules. The cartel was trafficking people to America. And they were forcing them to come to America and work for them in America. You had no compassion about that. You didn't even care about the little girls and the little boys that's been sex trafficked. You ain't care nothing about it. Now all of a sudden, y'all care about them snatching people out of here who didn't get in the right way. You don't even consider the fact that there are so many Latinos. Y'all ain't got no smoke for the Latinos in America who outnumber Black Americans. You have no smoke for the Latino men that voted for Trump. You have no smoke for the Latino women that voted for Trump. And I hear a lot of them don't have no problems at the fact that a lot of the people who had gotten here and skipped the line over them and the generations of their families that came in the right way, they don't have no problem with what's being done with. How it's being done. They don't have no problem. Black folks do. And them same Black folks ain't even taking in consideration that the money that's being spent to house these folks, feed these folks, is money that they never offered us. Told us they didn't have. Told us they didn't even have it. So y'all miss me with that I ain't compassionate bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all miss me with that because it ain't about I got more compassion for my folks than anybody else. Now, y'all can get mad at that. You can tell me I'm wrong for that. But the truth of the matter is, when I was talking 2-3 years ago about people getting $51 million a month, now look at the repercussions of those folks getting $51 million a month in Chicago. Who are they raising property taxes on? And you know what they saying because they don't know any better, because they don't understand how numbers work. When you talk that let's tax the rich people shit, you don't understand how it really works. You must not understand economics when you say let's tax the rich people. It don't work that way. Look at how Chicago is now. Look at how Chicago is now taxing the Black neighborhoods in housing, property taxes. Look at what New York. What's his name? Mendel. What's his name? Did you just see what he had to do? He ran on a ticket in New York against, I guess, well, he beat the Democrat. No, wait a minute. I don't remember the mayor's name of New York, the brother. He dropped out of the race. Okay. But Mandel and Mandali, whatever his name is, end up winning. He ran on taxing the rich. He ran on all this old shit. I'm going to tax the rich. Everything going to be free, free stores, free bus rides, free. What'd he tell y'all yesterday, New York? Well, based on the budget and based on the things that I see here, we're going to have to raise Eric Items. Thank you, Vernon. We're going to have to raise property taxes based on the fact. I'm going to tell you this right now. Property taxes are not fair. Property taxes are not fair. Property taxes are going to affect middle class to a little bit higher than low income, middle class. I don't even like calling people that are, do you know they consider middle class people that are working and have homes and they might have 1 or 2 checks ahead of being out on the streets themselves. That's not a middle class person. That's a working class person. And they working class people, middle class people pay all the taxes. And when it comes down to taxing the people, we pay all the taxes. That's who pay the taxes. So when you get to talking all that free shit, you know who end up paying for the free shit? All the property owners. Public school is paid for by property owners. If you don't believe me, look it up. If you don't know that, that means you don't own a piece of property. Because everybody's tax bill has a breakdown on what percentage of your taxes go towards what. At least they're transparent. At least they're transparent. And if you look at the percentage of your income tax, property tax, I said income tax, property taxes go towards your public school system. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Now, how fair is it for people that live in properties, own a home, have a mortgage, paying property taxes, and they paying for all this shit that they may not even be involved in? They may not have kids. They may not have kids at Taft. They may not have kids at Withrow. They may not have kids in public school. Or maybe they do have kids in school. They pay in private school. So now they paying for private school and they paying for public school. They have nothing to do with public school. And then here's to top it all off. Most people who spend money on education usually are paying money to send their kids to get a better education. So now I got to pay for an education for other people and it's failing. The kids are reading at a 3rd grade level, graduating in the 12th grade. Baltimore public school got a 2nd grade reading level for graduates. They're all reading and the math skills are way below expectations. And they're paying all this property tax. Same thing in Chicago. How are you? And here's where now I can say this is why I talk about Chicago. This is why I talk about New York and all that. Because we all know that larger metropolitan areas are first. Let me prove it to you. 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, when I started talking about Chicago getting hit with all this bull crap that's going on now that y'all didn't see they were going to have to pay for later. Chicago, they were saying, why are you always talking about Chicago? Because Chicago was basically the blueprint. Chicago was the blueprint of what I've been telling you. I said, don't worry about it, Cincinnati. Y'all ain't worried about it now because it ain't hit you yet. You're in Cincinnati, Ohio. It ain't going to get you yet. I said, it's coming. Now, what are they doing in city council in the city of Cincinnati? Aren't they talking about some shit like, well, we're about to pull back like $300,000 for illegal immigrants' rights? Or let me just say for immigration rights. I'll soften it like that, but we all know it ain't got nothing to do with no immigrants that's already in the city that's been working for 20 years and that are citizens. These are for people that's $300,000 and y'all wondering where tax dollars are going? Tax dollars go towards that type of fight. Yeah, that's where the tax dollars go. And you wonder, and you know these companies, let's call them companies. You know this money is all going to 501c3s. Let's call those nonprofits. Who getting the money for the drop-in centers who getting the money for the kids, curfew situation? Who getting that money? Who started it? Is it a nonprofit organization that got $300 and something thousand and they house 4 kids for curfew violations? Come on, man. I should have got in this hustle a long time ago. I just couldn't. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So they averaging $100,000 per child for curfew. That's what it's cost the city. No, it's what it costs taxpayers. Cost the taxpayers 100 G's a kid. That's college for 4 years. Damn near in any university in this country. Y'all don't see the hustle. You don't see the hustle. Yeah, I know they don't talk about it that way, do they? They never do. Because they would how do you explain only 4 kids went into the drop-in center, not the drop-in center, the curfew center? How can you explain only 4 when all of us on here for the last couple years, y'all come in here and tell me it was 200 kids down on the banks last night. It was 200 kids. And ain't no telling how many kids was up in Clifton acting a fool. How you going to explain 4 kids? They should have been averaging 4 kids a night. But you know what it is? It's not meant to work. It's just meant to spend money. It's meant to allocate money to something because somebody started something, a nonprofit organization. And we like to consider those to be our businesses. They're not businesses. Okay, they hustles. Sorry, I know it's going to step on a lot of toes, but that's what it is. It's to put money, it's to employ somebody. Now, maybe some of y'all think that that's cool and then nothing wrong with that. But yeah, there's something wrong with that. Because when you basically financing a problem that you can fix, but instead of fixing the problem, you want to continue to finance the problem. You want to continue to give the problem the juice and the battery that it needs to exist instead of fixing it. Part of fixing it is not being accessible for the problem. And what I mean by that is not having certain things. You might not need a drop-in center. You might be able to allocate 4 kids to 2020. And if you sending them to 2020, now these kids are getting an experience of, I ain't supposed to be up here. You know how many clients I done had that went to jail, came home, and was like, I wasn't supposed to be in that jail. And I was like, yeah, you were. You was doing some shit. No, Mr. Wyatt, I wasn't supposed to be in there with them. It's a lot of people in jail, man. They ain't got no hope. They ain't trying to do nothing. They ain't trying to be nobody. But I've been trying to tell you that. I've been trying to tell you, you better than where you going. You're much better than the decisions that you making. You're not supposed to be living in that type of lifestyle. You're not supposed to be dodging and running away. You're not supposed to be doing that. You're smarter than that. But guess what? There's somebody that facilitates that young person's problem. There's somebody out there that got a program sitting there waiting for their ass that make that fall so soft and make it so, well, I guess it ain't that bad. It's almost like this. You have to ask yourself, why would a person continuously go to jail? Why would a person go to jail? Like, not only are you on your way because you got a pending case, you on probation for some other shit, and you still out here doing some other shit, and you still out here clowning in these streets. Just ask yourself why people like that make those type of decisions. I guess jail just ain't tough enough. See, me, I can't go to jail because I got shit to do tomorrow. For me, going to jail would be devastating. For me, going to jail means I don't see my kids. I can't hug my wife. I can't be a father. I can't run my company. I can't do anything from jail. That's enough deterrent right there. I don't need no other reasons not to go to jail. For some people, they don't want to go to jail due to the fear of, man, I got to go in there and deal with all these goons. I got to go in there and deal with this. I got to go in there and deal with that. Oh, my God, I got to deal with this and deal with that. I got enemies sitting in there. I got to deal with that. For me, I don't want to go because I got other shit going on in my life. Let me go to the phone lines real fast. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, cuz? This is Huddy Hud.
Huddy Hud, what's good with you, bro?
Man, I was on my way to the park with Mr. Bentley, man. It's a little overcast here, man, but it's still pretty outside, man. But I heard your last caller, man, and real quick, man, I just want to say, to a certain extent, cuz I agree with her, and I'm gonna just let that marinate for a minute. And but you know how I feel about the immigrations, right? Let's go. That's what we talking about, man. The immigrations, man. How she was upset because they was getting body slammed, and you know, unfortunately, yeah, a few people, not just the two, but a few of them has been murdered by the ICE people.
The immigrants.
They've been. That's good. They body slamming their ass and getting their asses up out of here. Because first of all, she might have forgot her history because they've been body checking us and body slamming us for years. Well, they just now seeing the repercussion of what brutality looked like. They just now seeing this shit in the past 5 years. We've been seeing that shit for damn near the past 500. So, and for her to say that they shouldn't arrest them or they shouldn't go after their own people, like you said, cousin, I heard you. I was cracking up. You were like, whoa, hold up. So what you telling me, black officers shouldn't arrest black people or black criminals? Now, I get the word. It's the difference of the wording, cuz you say criminals or black people. If you're doing dead wrong, yeah, like you just said, yeah, you need to take your ass to jail. But if you just out minding your own business, you peacefully protesting, and you get body slammed to the curb, yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem. I got a problem with that, but that's not. I guess my algorithms just don't pull that type of situation to me. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is you got to be careful what you see out here, because a lot of stuff is put in your face by media and by propagandists. You know, people who actually stage and do certain things, and it only makes sense to me, Hud, that if you have, I had a statistic. Let me see if I still have it. It wasn't really a statistic. Yeah, I guess it was a stat. It was basically showing that immigration, the exporting of these people, are going on in a lot of major cities. But you don't see the same thing going on in those cities. And I'm not talking about 100 or 2 of them. I'm talking thousands of them have been removed from certain large cities. But
right, and you know what that is? You know what that's all about? All them thousands of immigrants that voted for Donald Trump because he promised them this and promised them that. Them all blue collar states, though, bruh. He can eliminate all them votes for, I guess, the next term or whatever he trying to do, monopolize or play chess. Or whatever he's doing, he's setting it up.
I'm lost. You're going to have to back up a little bit. You said all of the illegal immigrants that voted for Trump.
Well, a lot of them did.
Illegal, a lot of them did. A lot of illegal immigrants?
Well, immigration. Or you know how they, when Biden let them all in.
Those people can't vote. Not yet. Those are not the people who voted for Trump.
Well, the ones that was going through the getting all the food stamps, getting all the benefits that our own people should have been getting, cuz our own people should have been getting that.
I don't understand. Okay, those folks are not here by Trump. They didn't vote for Trump. They're here because the gates were left open. And when Texas was suing the government from stopping tens of thousands coming across each day, the government was flanking the lawsuits. They were when Texas was putting barbed wire down and trying to stop them from coming in, the government was doing things with the court, opening the doors for these people to come in. And I don't understand why they did away with remain in Mexico and those type of things that were on the books. These people were walking across the border, they just weren't being stopped. You know what I'm saying?
So do you agree with ICE or not?
Well,
or what they doing?
I agree that illegal immigrants should be removed if they're not coming here properly, because here's the thing.
I'm cool with that. Okay, and I agree with you there.
Okay, let me just say this. I don't want to say I was an immigrant because I guess I was an immigrant, but I was a legal immigrant in 2 different countries. And I can tell you right now, in both of those countries, I would have never been able to do what you see going on right now. Neither one of those countries, and you know for a fact that I lived in these countries, neither one of these countries that I lived in would have taken me in and done the same things that you see America doing right now. And what I mean by that is because of the immigration status that I was holding and the fact that they had a process in place. And if I skip the line of the process, I'm going to jail. And I'm going to stay in jail until my immigration hearing. They may ship me back to America. They probably will, because they ain't trying to give no Americans no free money. Okay, so all I'm saying to you is I don't see any. You and I can't go to Mexico and go there and stay in $400 a night hotels and give up our citizenship of America and say, okay, Mexico, I want you to take care of me. Right. They're not going to let you do that. You can't go to Europe and do that. You can't go to Spain and do that.
No.
And then think of the people who have been here, who have paid the money, who have went through the process. You know, I don't know a lot of people know this, but part of the process, you have to go to school. I had to go to school. When I lived in Europe, I had to go to a class for like 2 weeks. I mean, it don't sound like much, but when you in there 8 hours a day, I had to learn the ethics and I had to learn that country's morals and principles and all that stuff. You have to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't just go there and they just gonna accept. No, there's a process involved. That's why you see a lot of people who don't have real driver's license running around here crashing and shit.
Well, we're gonna change. Oh, my bad. I ain't really mean to cut you off, cuz like you do, man. But I know you are long-winded, man, and I want to change the subject real quick, man.
Go ahead.
You was talking about going to jail and back and forth and what the problem is and what's on your mind.
Yeah,
bro. Drake, prime example. This nigga get out of jail on a Thursday, and by Sunday evening he back in jail. Now, what kind of sense shit is that?
I don't know. Jail ain't tough enough. I mean, it's tough for me. I ain't never been, Hood. I know, you know that.
Because he got some mental issues, bro. His mind is fucked up.
I just think that
them drugs and the alcohol and all that psychotropic medication that nigga taking, man. He fucked up.
All of that. But then
Yeah,
there's this thing of I really don't think jail is the same.
It's the right place for him. He needs something else, bro. He needs some mental shit. He about a finger snap from being in a nursing home, long-term care facility, for real.
Maybe so. But let me just say this part. This is gonna sound a little insensitive, especially coming from a guy who only know about jail because I've only been around it. And I've heard hands-on stories from family. I've heard hands-on stories from clients. You know that. But I just don't think jail, and this is going to sound crazy to some people who've been to jail. I just don't think jail is tough enough. And what I mean by that is if you spent some time in jail, Huddy Hud, you probably missed your family. You missed a lot of shit that go on while people sitting in jail. That might not be enough of a pain for some people. If you look at jail in other countries, jail is a place that they don't want to go, mainly because jail is real tough. It's really tough. All right. It's a place that they don't want to go to because it's a chance they may not ever come home. And I think that a lot of people have no problem with going to jail because it's just not a tough enough place. And I know I'm going to get quoted. I know they're going to make clips. They're going to send this to the chaos agents of what I said. But I don't know any other reason why somebody would constantly go to jail back and forth and forth and back.
Yeah, let's just say, depending on where you go to jail at.
Well, that's true. You couldn't send me to a fair
you can go to the, I don't know if anybody remember the old workhouse days.
Yeah.
That was a tough little jail.
Okay.
That was tough.
But it was cats going back and forth.
But it wasn't like you said over in them other countries, and you know how they fight for life for a piece of bread.
The workhouse was much worse than the Justice Center because over at the workhouse, it was the workhouse. All right. In the Justice Center, you don't do shit. You just sit in there all day. I know, but I'm just saying. Now, doing 3 years in a state penitentiary like Lebanon or Chillicothe or something like that is totally different than doing 3 years in a Fed joint in Virginia or in Florida. It's three different. Those years would be 3 years different. For me, Huddy Hud, hold up. For me, Huddy Hud, them 3 years the same. Because what I have to lose by going to jail for 3 years is much more distraughting for me than going in. I'm not worried about what they're going to do to me. And that's not what my worry is. My worry is I got too much in my life going on that I can't lose 3 years to. Some people just don't have enough going on in life where they can go to jail for 3 years and it's
that's true, dude. But see, the Fed joint and the state joint, you talking two different joints now, man. You talking about two different prisons, man. It's some federal prisons are a lot easier. You know, the federal prison in Oklahoma City, where all the feds go to Oklahoma City first, and then they go to all the little different spots wherever they going. Whatever region or district they in, but they go into Oklahoma City first. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
But then when you get to the camps or whatever, you might have it a little easier. And
I don't think any of it is easy. I don't think for me, see, it all depends on the person, Huddy Hud. For you, you'll be like, man, send me to Virginia, send me to Florida. You can handle that. You know what I'm saying? Because, I don't think you could now because you got too much going on. You know how we were when we were younger. You go do that time standing on your head like it wasn't shit. But now I'm just being honest. You didn't have as much going on in your life as you do today. You can't go do no time, Hud. You can't go do no time. You got a wife. You got too much shit going on in your life.
Not going to.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that the reason why a lot of people don't have no problem going to do the time. Here's the thing. You can tell the people that ain't got no problem doing the time because they continuously do the things that get them the time. It's not a deterrent. The time is not a deterrent. You see what I'm saying, bro? Mm-hmm. I think that as you get more things going on in your life, you start thinking about the consequences of your decision making and stuff. And, I just think that, let me just say this. When I was over in Europe, I was getting Alpines out of Benzes, right? Yep. I had to work by myself because when I tried to recruit some of them little some of them ones, they wouldn't rock with me. You know why they wouldn't rock with me? Because they said, man, I can't do that. If we get caught, then you don't talk like that. We don't never talk like that. But if you get caught, if we get caught, I'm gonna have to go to jail, and my parents are going to, they have to face penalty. And then when I go to jail, my parents' name go down. See, you see what I'm saying? They have so many deterrents where if the son or the daughter or somebody get caught doing something, you see what I'm saying? If they get caught doing something.
Whenever I did something, cuz I would just keep it real. Anytime I did something, man, you know I did it by my motherfucking self. That way a nigga couldn't tell on me and I wasn't forced to tell on nobody, man.
Well, I understand all of that, bro. But I still think that the more we have out here, the less chances we have of making bad decisions that'll put us behind them walls. That's just what I think about that.
And since them days, man, my life has really turned around, man. Like I said, man, me and Lynn been together, man, for almost 19 years now, man. We met in 2007, bro, and we've been together ever since, cuz. Ever since.
Well, that's good, bro. And she's good for you because she didn't keep your ass out of trouble all those 20 years. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
all right, Huddy Hud, I gotta go, bro.
Shit.
I gotta get out of here, man. Hey,
all right, cuz. Hey, real quick though, man. I do remember that lawsuit stuff, cuz you remember he was even working for the president.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember all that
shit.
Shut
the whole block down.
Yeah.
Shut the whole block down working for the president. You probably still got some of them shirts too, don't you?
I probably got them somewhere in some type of storage in one of my
I'm sure you probably got a few of them
in
shirts
one of my buildings somewhere. A lot of people don't know the history of Wyatt. They don't know what I've been through. They don't know where I've been in life. I don't even share it, Huddy Hud. I don't share it. I just give my opinions and I talk about the things on the show. And the only reason why I say and I'm firm about what I say and talk about what I talk about is because of my experiences in life.
True.
That's
true.
It. You know what I'm saying? Because only because of my experiences in life. And yes, I have worked for the presidents of the United States. I have done work for the presidents of the United States.
Yeah.
United States.
Right. Okay, cuz.
All right, brother.
Love you, man.
Appreciate you, man. Nothing but love. All right.
Peace.
Huddy Hud in Louisville. I've done work for several presidents. I've done work for a current sitting president who everybody say is a racist, and he did something for my company and other minority companies that I find it to be difficult to call somebody a racist that says, hey, I am going to use wait a minute, hold on. Somebody said Wyatt, buddy. That's my cousin. He lives in Louisville. I am going to use minority companies to do certain work. And then when the casino was going into bankruptcy, this man is the only person I've ever dealt with one of my companies who said, look, I'm not going to break these small businesses. I'm not going to have these small businesses not be able to pay their invoices for their work. I'm not going to sit here and make these companies suffer because of the economics of this casino or, what was going on in New Jersey. So instead of putting them in the bankruptcy, I'm going to pay out their invoices, get their invoices. We're going to pay them out. We're not going to put them in our bankruptcies and make sure they get paid. Y'all can say whatever you want to say about whoever you want to say anything about. I don't think anybody on this platform got a story to tell like that. I don't think you have a story that can, and I can prove it. So all the celebrities and all the people that you want to hear talk about whatever and this and this and that, that's fine. All the shit that you hear through the media and all that, that's fine. We just had stories. We just talked about the media. Fine. The difference between what I talk about and what some of your other people talk about is I'm bringing real life shit to mine. I'm not an entertainer. Anybody ever thought that I'm an entertainer? Has anybody ever plugged in and said, I'm about to go watch the Wyatt live show because he is entertaining? because he's entertaining. Anybody think I'm entertaining? I don't think I'm entertaining. That's why I've been telling Drop for the longest. I don't think I'm an entertainer by far. Now, I think people that can convince you and hold your attention and sit here and write stories and have interviews and fake pump fake you and tell you a bunch of crazy shit and lead you to believe false narratives, and they're great entertainers. Yeah, they get paid for it. Most of them do. But no, I don't give y'all 2-3 hours of my time every day to entertain you. I know that ain't my goal. And anybody that think that, I don't know what you, I don't know what I don't know how you feeling. We talking about Wyatt Live. We ain't talking about nobody else's platform. We talking about here. Now, if you don't want to be here, go away. Why you always like that? I don't get it. People been telling me, and I just be letting it ride. I don't like, we all know. Just tap dancing. I know y'all. Just have some of those people that y'all talk to, have them ask real questions. Have them ask real questions. Have them talk about something that you can benefit from instead of keeping you in a down spot. Have them. They got all people have all the people that they need. You got all the people that hold the cards, meaning politicians, city council, everybody. They got everybody. All I talk about are the things that's possible. That's what I hold down over here. What's possible? We can start a Lincoln Hikes. That's possible. You want to talk about it seems like everybody want to talk about the world is about to end. And it's coming from black folks, and black folks been through more shit in this country than anybody. And it seemed like the ones that become the weakest links are the ones that constantly talk about, well, it's about to be this, it's about to be that. Man, they would have been threw y'all ass out of the conversations. No, you would have never survived in a Black Wall Street world. They would have threw you out of the circle. We don't need that negative shit over here, yo. We got shit on a plate. We doing things over here. This is what we doing. We don't need them to do what we doing. So please leave that softball shit out of what we doing. No, them white people this, them white people this, and the white people. Look at what we done been through. And we still talking about what white folks did to us, when in fact, we talk more about what white people did to us versus what we do great of ourselves, what we do best. And the number one thing that we do more than anybody is we survive, persevere. I tell you, bro. Sierra says, honestly, most of your shows in 2026 have been about what other shows aren't discussing. Original topics would be good. So the shows that I talk about what other people aren't talking about, don't I talk about those things? So if I say something about what they're not talking about, don't I talk about it? Like, for instance, you get a congressman sitting in your studio, and all he's talking about is how the government's spending the money and making you mad. Now, that's me talking about another platform. But didn't I also say, well, here's one of the things they could have talked about. Where's your grandkids and your kids? Anybody 1 year old? Anybody that was born in 2026 or the beginning of this administration? You can get this $1,200 account and have $3,600 by the time they turn 18 without putting a dime into it. Don't I talk about when I say they don't ask certain questions, don't I pose certain questions? So that's talking about it. When I say they didn't ask this, they didn't ask that. Don't I talk about it? When I talk about how they don't talk about self-sufficiency of Lincoln Heights, don't I tell you how we could do things with Lincoln Heights? That's just a few things off the top of the dome. I probably could go back and watch some shows. But my thing is this. Most of the time, I don't lead out with stories about what somebody else talking about. Most of the time when those topics or when we get to talking about something, it's because a caller called in and and they ask me my opinion, or they bring it up, or they type it in the screen, and then I talk about it. But I ain't never just started no show. Oh man, guess what? Guess what such and such and them doing? That ain't my flow. That ain't what I do. But now I will say something if I see something crazy. If I see something crazy and I hear like, bro, maybe they talked about it somewhere else, so it seems like I'm piggybacking off the conversation. But for me, I think it's interesting to hear that $300,000 went towards not a drop-in center. It went into a curfew building, and they've only had 4 people go into the curfew building in all this time. When in fact, we've had conversations over here when we know there's 200, 300 kids out breaking curfew, ending businesses. Like, you got kids out here. These aren't adults. There are a few. Now, you know, we got some adults that act like children. You got kids out here, and I went hard for the food truck people. Number one, I don't really support food trucks unless they're in a food truck district. Okay? But I went hard for the food truck people because I felt like, how you going to tell them they got to be done at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, whatever the time was, when it's because of the lack of y'all not keeping up with the curfew with the kids. The kids are out here making it tough for people at 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning. That's what they doing. Sorry about that, y'all. I don't know. There go the camera thing again. That's what the kids doing. And now it's making things bad out here in the streets. And y'all want to hold food truck people responsible for what the kids are doing? That makes no sense to me. Why have a curfew on the food truck and not execute the curfew on the kids? That just doesn't make sense to me. We've had those conversations. But I'll say this, and I don't mean to say it arrogantly, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. Every day, I mean, I don't know. When you go to church on Sunday, can you, I mean, they allow you to put a request in to the pastor, don't they? Pastor, I need you to talk about the homelessness over on Vine. He might mention it, but he got a sermon. He already prepared himself. Deanna said, no one went hard for the food truck people than Shaba. He went crazy. I think Shaba has a food truck. So that's a bad example, Deanna. I would go crazy. If I was a barber and they was doing that to my barbershop, I'd be going crazy too. I think he owns a food truck. I could be wrong. Shaba, let us know. Been about to check. What's good, bro? He says everything in every show is content. Is content. Excuse me, content. Even that show does the same thing. They talk about Fox and Piggy. Back off shows. I'm sorry. Been about that check. My bad. I just butchered it. Hold on. Told y'all I'm sick. Let me try to do this again. Okay. He said everything in every other show is content. Even that show does the same thing. They talk about Fox and piggyback off of shows. Okay. Wyatt, Wyatt, don't let people try to manipulate you to stop breaking down that nonsense they talk about. I'm not, bro. Come on, man. You've been here 5 of the 6 years that we about to be on the air. You know I ain't about to. I am who I am, and I'm consistent. I say what I say because I can back up what I say. I don't necessarily mean everything I say is right, but it may be right to where I come from, what I'm part of, what I've seen in life, what we doing over here. Yeah, everybody has a difference of opinion. And just because I contest somebody's opinion, it's funny how when somebody contests my opinion and then I give them a rebuttal of what they said, they get more upset of what they think I was upset about. Ain't that funny? It's like you contest what I say. And then when I say something about your contest, when I say something about what you say, or I don't want to hear it or whatever, you get mad. That's crazy. I mean, to me, that's like my wife. Let's just say if my wife or whoever, if my wife went to my daughter, no, let's just use me and my wife. If my wife said, hey, Rand, I really need you to clean up after yourself when you leave the kitchen. You're leaving the kitchen a mess. And I say, okay, baby, I'm sorry about that. It won't happen again. Yet I'm in my feelings about it. And then we go into the laundry room and she leave laundry shit all over the place. And I say, hey, babe, listen, I would appreciate it if you pick up the laundry stuff. And then she go off on me because I got a problem with how dirty she leave the laundromat. Wait a minute, you want me to keep the kitchen clean, but when I check you on the laundromat, now you got a problem because I like to see the laundromat clean like you like to see the kitchen clean. And it's okay for you to check me on the laundromat, but I can't check you on what you saying and what you doing wrong. Funny. That's why it don't bother me. What's that, Jack? Wait a minute. Let me go to Jordan. Vernon. Vernon be throwing me off my rope sometime. I do. It's your show, brother. Do your thing. The negative feedback is not personal, not as far as I can tell. I never take it personal. I promise you I don't. It's just that some people feel like they can say what they want to say, and then when you blow back at them, it's like they get in a little funny act, like you can't say nothing back to them. That's all. It's okay to what do they call it when you go to a comedy show? When you go to a comedy show, come on, Shaba and Jack, y'all do this type of shit. When you go to a comedy show and you what is it called? Heckle. You go to a comedy show and you heckle the comic. See what I'm saying? And the comic go in on your ass. You think the comic really think that person was going in on them personally? Thank you, Heckle. There you go. Thank you, y'all. I said it right. Thank you. I appreciate it. My family always be here for me. So if I'm sitting there heckling Mike Epps, and I'm like, oh, shut up. You from the Nap. Y'all don't know none of your country ass up in the Nap. You think what I'm saying to him is bothering him? Because what he going to do is he going to come at me. If he take the time to come at me, he is going to destroy me. He is going to destroy me. And then I'm going to turn around and say, man, that motherfucker took that shit personal, man. He ain't had to take that shit so personal. Damn, if he going to be up on stage and shit, he should be able to listen to people say heckling him and shit. You know what I'm saying? That don't make sense to me. Trust me. If I took this shit personal, I'd Mike Epps your ass. I would go as hard as I would if it was personal. But I don't take it personal. I don't think I've ever said anything on here to be that disrespectful, guys. I don't hate anybody on here. I don't hate anybody. Because I disagree with what you say, don't mean that I don't like you. Let me tell you how easy it is to deal with a person in social media, especially on a show like this. If I don't have some type of compassion, or if I don't think that we cool, I could easily block you. Anybody. And you could block me. If I've never done that, and I think I've only blocked 2 people in my life. Everybody else that get an opportunity to say what they say on here, and you can see it and I can see it. I don't care what you're saying is not knocking me. It's not knocking no dirt off my shoulder. I promise you. Because at the end of the day, Vernon, I ain't never. Why you keep saying that, bro? He said, we cool once you unblock me the third time. I've never blocked you, bro. I don't know where you be on some different stuff. All I'm saying to y'all is this. The only way that I'll give you a secret. I'll give you a secret. And only a hater will take this secret and use it. Only a hater. So get ready. There's going to be a few. The only way that I would take it personal is if you call me a liar. If you say that I said something intentionally to lie to the people and I'm about to prove it, and you do some bullshit to prove that I lied or to, propagate, if you put some shit together and make it look like I lied about something, I'm telling the truth, that's the only way I would take it personal. That's it. If you say I'm lying, like intentionally. Now, an opinion may not be a lie. An opinion is a thought. Opinion is my feelings towards something. Just like if you said something, like HUD came on and said something that I thought was crazy. He came on and said something about those illegal immigrants came over here and they voted for Trump. That's just a misinformed individual. See what I'm saying? That's what that is. That's not him lying. He just was misinformed. So I'm not going to look at it like, okay, he a liar. No, that his opinion was off base because of misinformation. But now he took the time to listen to what was really real, and it is what it is. Now his ass can't call on here again talking about some of them illegal immigrants over here voting for Trump. He can't come back with that again without now me saying, hey, brother, shit crazy. Let me go to the phone line real fast before I get out of here. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, brother, you got time to talk to me?
I got time to talk to you. What's good?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. I got one bar on the phone, but I don't know why. It's been like that all day, but let's give it a shot. What's happening?
I just want to tell you thank you always. I'm taking my test in March, and I feel like I got a better handle on it this round.
Okay.
Got a lot of support and people helping me.
You taking it in March?
I wanted to talk about, huh?
You say you taking it in March?
Yeah, I take it again in March.
Good luck.
I wanted to talk to you about Hillary Clinton. Did you see the Munich conference panel?
I seen it. I didn't watch it, but I seen some clips.
Okay. So she is invited to the Munich Security Conference panel because she is former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
And so they come to her for insight. And in it, she and others like AOC is there. And they're talking to world leaders, okay? The world leader from Switzerland is explaining to her that he doesn't feel like she's going to say anything good about Trump, quote unquote. And she goes on to say, I could never say anything good about him. But they're doing a women's conference panel being hosted by Sarah McBride. Sarah McBride is a man. Representative Sarah McBride is from Delaware. It's another transgender representative in Minnesota, but I forget their names. The Switzerland head of state tells her there's only two genders. She throws that to the side, talks over him, insults him, and says, so what matter does it if the people of Ukraine are being killed if there's only two people, it's only two genders? And it's just so frustrating because people act like the Ukraine is some victim. When I was growing up, it was some defining things of the 80s. The big thing that stuck out, Jesse Jackson ran for president. He ran against Walter Mondale and Geraldine Ferraro and Michael Dukakis. The first vote, I was telling them in the chat, the first vote I had at Rockdale Elementary, I was 6 years old, I voted for Jesse Jackson. Mm-hmm. Our classroom voted for Jesse Jackson. The next thing that happened was the Spaceship Challenger. They told everybody, come outside, come to the classroom, we're gonna watch the spacecraft lift off, and the motherfucker exploded.
Blew up, yeah.
The best thing from the 80s was the fall of the Berlin Wall. Do you remember that, in the collapse of the Soviet Union?
I do.
I
actually have a piece of that wall.
Collapsed,
I actually have a piece of that wall.
The agreement was, we will get rid of this wall. We will enforce our borders and our territories, but we will not take these 11 states with us. So they became their own kind of nations: Ukraine, Georgia, etc. When NATO formed, NATO said, "Well, we understand that we made that agreement but we really want Ukraine."
Excuse me.
We wouldn't mind having Ukraine in NATO.
Okay.
In 2014, Ukraine was off the chain in corruption. They was burning down their capitals. They was fighting. Their politicians was fighting. They was having riots and civil wars, and a lot of that was funded by American government.
Right.
When NATO stood up and said, well, we want to take Ukraine, Russia said, no, you're not.
Right. They were protecting that land.
This is still the USSR.
They were protecting.
When I hear people talk Russian from Ukraine, they still consider themselves Russian. So the Nazis, the actual Nazis who exterminated them people, they are from the Ukraine, and they hate Black people. When the Ukraine war first started, the first people that they put out of the Ukraine was white people. Black people couldn't get on the trains. They wasn't allowed. They wasn't allowed to leave because they weren't Ukrainian. They weren't white. So the Ukraine is not a victim in the world war of schemes for people to keep trying to throw it out there as if you saving the planet by saving the Ukraine. This is a nation of Nazis who were on the list of human rights violators in 2014. And that's before the wars and stuff popped out. So the Switzerland man is telling her again, I think that you just don't like Trump. And it doesn't matter what's going on in the Ukraine. This is what he said. It doesn't matter what's going on in the Ukraine. It's still two genders. Now, you got the white man in the wig that went to the hockey field. He had the Nazi salute all on his arm. He buffed all up, but he taking estrogen. He taking estrogen. He wearing a wig and lipstick. He go to the hockey court. He shoot his wife. He shoot his son. He shoot his daughter, and he kill himself. You had another transgender person up in Canada just shot up a school full of kids. And yet you have people like Sarah McBride. You have Representative Paya Pyle, or whatever her name is. You have all of these prominent voices trying to normalize transgenderism and act like it's a small issue. This is a problem. When you got to go to the Supreme Court and say, what is a woman? And you argue all this other stuff instead of saying a woman is an XX chromosome. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Then on top of that, you have to go and say, there was a case, a young woman sued because, and this is up, I think in Newark or New Jersey. A young woman sued her doctor and her psychologist, and she won $2.5 million. Because they convinced her that she could be a boy. So at 15, they start giving her puberty blockers, And at 16, they gave her a mastectomy. By 22, she changed her mind, but she couldn't get her breasts back. And the testosterone has blocked her voice box so that she can't speak very well because it's for a stronger muscle cord. Testosterone is for a man. So she can't even talk. Yet they still won't take it off of their platform.
Right. Well,
I'm down here in Texas. The man who owned the biggest bakery in Texas for Hispanics, that's not just Mexicans. My community is 17% Venezuelan. You wouldn't know. I don't know the difference in white people. They all look white to me. But he owns the biggest Hispanic bakery in the state. They are calling to boycott his bakery because he is one of the biggest contributors to Latinos for Trump. The Latinos in America have a different understanding of colonialism than Black people. We are colonized by the British. They're colonized by the Spaniards. So the Spaniards set up their own form of colonialism. The Chicano or the Tiano people or the Mexican Americans, they don't like Mexicans because Mexicans don't like them because they're not full Mexican. They don't have a cultural cohesion of the Peruvians, the people from Peru, seeing the people from the Dominican Republic. They don't see them the same. And if you are a Haitian, if you go to the Dominican Republic, they will chase you down and they will throw you out of even if you are born in the Dominican Republic, by virtue of you being a Negro, they put you out. So the platform, as much as they try and complain about Trump, the reason you have Trump is because look at that. Look at that mess. Look at that mess that's going on. And when we talk about, ICE, I be seeing the comments, brother, you got to, just like, sometimes you just got to be David and Goliath.
I understand. Trust me, I get it. Trust me, I already know. Listen, you know how it is. You got
to be David and Goliath. But when with ICE, they talk about the Black man that got killed by off-duty police officer. You don't see any purple, blue, orange-haired she screaming about that Black man that got shot in his back 17 times by the Atlanta Police Department. You don't hear, it's crickets. You don't hear nobody talking about that Black woman who is suing Detroit police right now. She told the police officer to call a supervisor. When the supervisor came, both of them shot at her 6 times. 6 times. No, it's crickets. And it's because, like I always say, we put these political parties over our race and we allow them to build their narratives off of our oppression. I don't live in Cincinnati. I don't pay taxes in Cincinnati. But if I were there, the same way I was mad about how you giving $500,000 to trans youth, how you giving 200, even though that's not a lot of money.
It's 300,000. It's a lot of money.
Why are you giving $210,000 to immigrant services?
It's a lot of money to me. As a taxpayer,
in defiance
wait a minute,
of federal law,
as a taxpayer, that's a lot of money. I mean, when you're looking at it coming from, property taxes and sales taxes and things of that nature. Have you heard the story about them trying to get on the ballot of Ohio? They're trying to do away with property taxes. And you hear how some of the people are talking about how if we end property taxes in Ohio, that means that it'll cut back spending on certain other things. I guess a lot of nonprofit organizations will probably lose their funding. A lot of other places will lose their funding. And then they're also saying that sales tax would probably have to go up. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't mean to shift the conversation, but I want to shift it just a little bit. I think it's more fair that everybody, if you want to support certain things with tax dollars, I don't think it should fall on the backs of only property owners. So if you don't have a problem paying for public school, If you don't have a problem paying for illegal immigrants, then stop making the majority of the money come from property tax or property owners who's paying property tax, and put it in your sales tax, and let's see if you still feel the same way. So instead of your bread costing $1.50, it's now going to cost $1.75. And then everything else in your cart is going to go up by 12 or 13%. Let's see if you still feel the same way about supporting somebody when you have to pay for it out of your pocket. Let's see how you like it, because the property sales tax is different. Hold on one second, Marquetta. The property sales tax is totally different when you look at somebody that has a property, a home owner,
Right.
versus someone that's living in an apartment building, living in apartment C. See what I'm saying? They're not paying property taxes. Now, not so say, but if your rent go up next year $50 or $75, you're going to be asking why. And then when they say, hey, the cost of us being here, our property taxes on our unit went up, on our apartment building went up. Then you have to start asking, because most landlords don't tell people stuff like, well, my property taxes went up, so I got to charge you more money. They don't look at it like that. People are usually used to property, or used to their rent going up, kind of like on a normal thing, like $5-10 a month, the next year when a new lease happened or something. Most people are used to that. But if they heard that the expenses was going up higher for the apartment building owner, they might have a different approach to how they feel about how this rent, how this tax money is being spent on certain things out here.
I mean, it make a difference when it's coming out your pocket.
It does.
But there is, and I'm not saying that it's right. I be trying to talk to us, but we are. I don't want to say we're hateful. We are purists. Black people are purists. We want the truth, damn it, in the right way, period. But when we don't have all of our information, we can't really look at it in a pure way. Now, they are talking about, like I talked about before with you, in New Orleans, and one of the parishes there, they did just what you talked about with the property taxes. They still taxed people in the Black district that they winded up separating from, and created a new tax district because they wanted to segregate the schools. So in order to pull their white children out of schools that were in Black neighborhoods, they created a new parish. They created a separate community from the Black community that they were once a part of. But in order to do it, they still needed the Black residents' tax dollars. So they siphoned off the tax dollars, but they separated the school. They segregated the school. Now, the people down there fighting because when they took their tax base away from that community, it hurt them too. Not only did you take their money, but you took your money out of the community too. So the school that you left, and took your students out of is even worse off now because we don't have our dollars or your dollars, from that pulling away. And then people will point us to the statistics on our education.
Right.
And this is what I be trying to say in the chat. We are having the same argument our ancestors had. The historically Black colleges were created by white people. The historical Black colleges was created because Black people were not allowed in white institutions of learning, but Black people was real smart. And Booker T. Washington was saying, work on your skill. Booker T. Washington was saying, work on your skill. We need to dominate the market in our skill so that if anybody's looking for a carpenter, they know to come to Blackwell. If they're looking for a blacksmith, they know to come, to the Black people.
Right.
And the boy said, well, that's good, but we really need the talented 10th to go to college and get educated, and they will lead us. And the sad thing is, with the passing of Jesse Jackson, that generation has to die out because their leadership is off. And they hate to hear it. If you would have listened you would have heard that 10% of black men that voted for Trump tell you, I can't find no work. I can't get a job. They probably still can't because they ain't got their skills down. But you ain't never heard, even if they don't go after the opportunity, I've never heard anybody come to the public and say, we got $30 an hour construction jobs for black males if you got a felony less than 7 years. That come and target you in particular. If you would have listened, you would have heard men saying, I do want my baby. I don't want her to abort my child. I want to be a father, even if she don't want to be a mother. I'll go raise the baby somewhere else. It was men saying, it was male voices saying that. And I'm going to say this, and I promise I'm going to hang up because I know people be like, she be talking out loud. She's long-winded.
It's all good.
But the Epstein files, bruh.
That's changing up a little bit.
Since the Franklin conspiracy, right there in Cincinnati, Ohio, you had the Franklin Savings and Credit Union. You had a white banker. This was during the Reagan administration. You had a white banker who had a house of young black male orphans that he was prostituting out with a black man, not the Jesse Jackson that just died, but another Jesse Jackson. You can look it up. It's called the Franklin Conspiracy. They were known to be raping those little boys. That's what the Franklin Conspiracy is all about. When George Bush Jr. was in office, they was at the Republican National Committee putting their foot up under the bathroom stall, knocking on the floor twice. You know what I'm saying? So sex trafficking is not new. And when you look through the Epstein files, justice.org/Epstein, look up pizza, look up ice cream, and ask yourself, why is all these billionaires always asking for pizza? Every other email, there's thousands of these emails. Every other email, I can have pizza delivered to you in 15 minutes. Somebody bring me some Oreo cookie ice cream. Why do you have to have Oreo cookie ice cream? You asking for it, Epstein, but you wanted to deliver to 3108 North Manchester Road. So people for generations in our politics have ignored people very high on the hog, in particular Israelis who have infiltrated our government through espionage, who blackmail world leaders and world leaders who play along. For generations, they have been doing this to children, to women. It has, I mean, you can go back to the 80s, you can go back to the 90s. It's always been that. So you're not a hero. Just the same way, you know, they took down Bill Cosby. Everybody thought Bill Cosby was just, he was just a distraction for that time. Where he at now? The Supreme Court came in and looked at the case. You did something unconstitutional to him. You understand what I'm saying? You went against the Constitution to get that man. And it's kind of the same thing that we about to see play out with these black politicians and prosecutors who played into the Democratic bull crap about getting a man arrested and all of that stuff. You have a book of laws. You have a constitution. You can't get mad at ICE for enforcing the law. Where was the anger when Vortex and Task Force in the 90s and the 80s used to jump out on Red and Roll and lay us all down on our knees in full G.I. Joe uniform? Face mat Task Force used to hit us like every, man, please. So all that I'm getting at, brother, is sometimes it's a lonely battle. The truth is the hard truth. It's not an easy lie. It's the hard truth. At our community, we weak, but you don't realize you're hurting yourself inviting the immigrants in. You about to lose your voters' right and the whole Congressional Black Caucus because the Hispanic population outnumbers you in Louisiana. you can't get no attention on the police brutality that is still occurring in your communities because you fighting for Renee Petrie. They fight. And the reason why you have to keep in mind that there's laws, there are borders, is immigration, customs, and enforcement. You have to come in here naturalized. Our people had to fight a civil war. I keep telling you,
let me just say this.
Your 14th Amendment right. We had to fight for that blood.
And that's what that's what frustrates me the most is as much as Black folks has fought in this country to have the position that we're in right now and still fighting those positions, I find it to be a little disrespectful for people to fight for other people to have those same rights, but yet their rights, when they're fighting for those people's rights, they get a little bit more incentive. They're incentivized financially when they get it. They've had a lot more. They get a lot more than what we've had. So let me just say this about the. I'm not gonna let immigration bother me with the ICE things or none of that, Marquetta. And the reason being is because if you wasn't mad, not you, so say, but if the people who want to be angry now, if you're not mad now, or if you wasn't mad when they was coming in here and they were being drugged and being sexually abused out in the deserts and being handled by the cartels and being treated a certain way and sex trafficked in the country. You go to California, you'll see it. A lot of them little young girls that's down in Texas and out in California, them little Espanol girls, they working for the cartel.
Like 11 years old.
They work for the cartel. None of y'all have no smoke for the shit that's really happening out here of what the cartels have done to these Latino girls and the little boys that they got that y'all can't find. None of that shit. You looking at some shit going on in one city of Minnesota that's being provoked by people, and you don't have no conversation. You don't have any smoke for the cause of any of it. You didn't care when they were being drugged over here. Probably most of the people that got something to say about this situation have never even seen an illegal immigrant, have never done anything for them, don't know what they sound like, don't know what they touch, feel like, don't know nothing. And you got so much fight and you believe all this propaganda that the media and all these people are telling y'all. I ain't got no problem with what you want to believe in, but please don't have a problem with what I believe in. But let's just say,
Senator Marino said to Attorney General Kendrick Ellison in a state hearing, because Senator Marino's parents is immigrants. He said, because you're not prosecuting criminal illegal immigrants, or you're not naturalizing them properly, you're doing just what you just said. You're emboldening the cartels.
That's exactly what they doing.
Enslave whole populations.
But see, these
and bring
people
them through here illegally. And people come here thinking they're coming for a better life and wind up enslaved to the cartel.
Exactly.
With their identification taken. And it's just a whole lot more
people are
than
so
saying you voted for the white man versus the black woman. It's bigger than that.
Now I heard that shit. That's the craziest shit in the world. That's what's wrong with us. We that's entertainment speaking. That's not education. Okay, when somebody says, "Oh, you put the white man, you vote for the white man over the black woman," see, that's not intelligent. That's not intelligence at all. Okay, and that's just me. I'm gonna say what I got to say about that. If you want to defend that type of behavior or that type of talk, that's on you. I don't care how you feel and how you wake up and eat your pancakes every day. That's on you. But it's simply not educate. That's just, there's nothing smart about saying you voted for the white man over the black woman and not associate any policy or anything in your argument. Just, I'm supposed to vote for a woman because she's
Sarah
black.
McBride is a man. So, Sarah McBride, listen, I don't care, and I'm going to keep telling you, I don't care how much estrogen a man takes. Right now, it's a boy in California dominating the girls' track and field, dominating them, killing them. Been doing it for like a year now. That's his case that's being talked about, Hernandez. You're still a boy.
I get it. I grew up. I raised two daughters in sports. I'm going to tell you right now, I would have all three of my attorneys that are on retainer would be working a case, would be putting shit together right now if the school district had little boys playing against my daughter in basketball. I would be suing the school district. I would be the hardest
It's
parent.
a little girl suing right now, Wyatt, because she was wrestling and she didn't know that the person she was wrestling was really a boy. So once he got her pinned down, he digitally penetrated her, and she could feel his erection. This is not a small issue. It's not a distraction issue.
Look at all the guys that are in these.
I'm gonna hang up.
Look at all these guys that are being. I see it on video. They're at the gyms, at workout centers, and they're going into the ladies' locker room, and they're going in there. Some of them are even getting caught recording. I mean, look. First of all, let's look. I don't know if y'all are really gonna. I know this is probably gonna, step on some toes, or gonna not sound too sweet to the ear. But anybody that's going through shit like that, any man that think he's a woman and all this old shit, there's mental issues going on there. Okay, there's some shit going on in somebody's head that you can try to justify all you want with the chromosomes and the cross X's and all that. You can say whatever you want to say. I think, quite honestly, quite frankly, my opinion, I'm entitled to. I think all of that shit is a mental illness. I think all of it has something to do with mental illness. Okay, if you
but they're trying to normalize it, bro.
It's not.
You see them saying
you're never gonna. They're never going to convince me that it's normal, because it's not. And if you look at most of them have some type of thing going on in their life that's outside of the sexuality too. There's a lack of confidence. There's a lot of stuff going on in those people's mind. Look, I got some gay people that I know. This has nothing to do with gay people. This is totally different. This is why I know some gay people got a problem with all these alphabets being put onto their name, because they're just gay. They're not all that other shit that come along with that. And they're mad that certain things have infiltrated their lifestyle and been attached to them. Just because you're gay, that don't mean you the type of person that if you're a gay man, that don't mean you want to be a woman. That's a totally different person. A gay man is somebody that's attracted to the same, to a man, right? It don't mean he want to be a woman. But the problem is, now you got all these different transgenders and all this other stuff that have attached themselves to the gay movement, and now it's offensive. If you tell the truth, if you tell how you feel, or if you say that the shit is not right and it's not normal, it's not natural, medical records show that these people don't live not just regular lives when it comes down to the selection of their partner. I'm talking about, look at the school shootings and all that type of stuff that's going on. Most of them are dealing with somebody that got some shit going on in their mind. They're not normal. There's some other stuff going on with them. And I'm not going to be silenced.
It's adults. It's a difference between you being a 25-year-old adult and making that type of decision, as opposed to you being somebody under 18. And again, you sound so silly sitting up with that on your platform when the medicine is malpractice medicine. There's no medical necessity for a child under 18 without cancer to receive a mastectomy. There's no medical necessity to a young. There's a case right now. I had to call the Florida Department of Human Trafficking. There's a little boy on the internet. He was being groomed by a pastor named T.D. McNutt. It's all over the internet. This nigga got this little boy eyebrows arched. He got his nails done. He got a French tip on his nails. He got 2 other little boys that he training up. He got a ministry of men who are former sex offenders. And he himself says he is delivered from wanting to marry a man. So now they're just grooming kids. If you don't step in, there are people in your community who will pervert your children.
See,
and if the government doesn't step in, medicine will allow it.
Here's my thing. Here's why I wish Trump wasn't the president. Okay, I know they probably would have made somebody else the racist, the bad guy, whatever. I wish Trump wasn't the president, because I think people are asleep. The brains have been formed and manipulated where you lose focus of what's right and wrong on some other real shit that's going on. And they got you so focused on Trump that you're not paying attention to the shit that you're co-signing. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? The shit that they are on the side of is being totally ignored because they have you so fixated on Trump. I listen to it whenever I tune into the radio. If they're talking about anything of importance, they could talk about it for 3 minutes, and by a minute and a half, Trump is incorporated in the conversation. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What about the importance of what we're talking about? Now you can't incorporate hate in fixing a problem. When you start incorporating hate into a problem, now what's going to happen is now you're going into, you don't fix anything with hate. Okay? You're not even thinking clearly. Hate is not part of the solution. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, sis? You cannot add, if you keep hating on Trump all day, how are you going to fix the real problems going on in your community? Because I never hear anybody but Stefan Pryor talking about real issues in the community on Black radio. He the only one that talk about Black issues. Everybody else talk about how fucked up everything is, and it's the white Republicans. And they losing the battle of home. They don't even understand. They don't even talk about property taxes, because when they get a congressman come in, he is trying to convince you that your school's gonna fall apart if they cut property taxes. And
that you don't need an ID at the voter booth.
Right. What type of shit is that?
I've never been to
oh
a
my
voter
God.
booth
And they just listen
ID.
to that shit. These are the same people that will listen to a Black man tell them that it's okay for a white liberal to call another Black man a house nigga. These are the same people that's open. You got to be plumb dumb to start a platform, go on your platform and try to explain to Black people how it's okay for this white liberal man or these white liberal women to call a Black man a house nigga because of what he's doing out here. No, I ain't from that. I ain't from no white people calling us no niggas for no reason.
But here's my thing. Everybody got the internet. If anybody came here from another country, I know that you saw our ancestors fight in the civil rights. I know you saw Rodney King in the LA riots. I know you saw Tamir Rice, Michael Brown. I know you saw Trayvon Martin. I know you saw Breonna Taylor. You saw what was going on over here. Are you surprised that it's happening to you because you're not Black? Because most people are acting like, oh, they're so surprised. But Black people deal with police brutality. That is one of our issues. If Sister Iris Rowley had not stepped in with the collaborative agreement and told this beast how to police us properly, when I was 14 years old in Bond Hill, when crack first hit, we wasn't nothing but teenagers. Everybody had a brick. Everybody had an ounce. Everybody had some dope. We ain't had no guns. It wasn't no shooting. We wasn't fighting up and down the street. We was literally standing on the corner trying to hit a lick. The task force would jump out in a black van, all blacked out windows. Everybody jumped out with rifles and guns, with police vests on, with their face covered up. And everybody get on your knees. I can remember being 10 years old, and my aunt and her boyfriend, Eddie Young, had me and my cousin over, and Eddie Young had some cocaine. The task force hit her apartment. They threw everything. They destroyed everything. They took the flour, they poured it in the sugar, they ate our fried chicken, they threw the oil in the sink, they cut open the couches. When the girl busted into the room, I was watching Who's the Boss. The lady had a blue jean jacket on and a gun in my face. And you can look at me and see, I'm 10, bitch. You can put your gun away. She saw my cousin in the closet, put the gun on her, told her, come out the closet, kept the gun on us till we got to the kitchen to sit with my aunt and Eddie Young. Eddie was out of jail within 5 business days. So don't tell me nothing about ICE and police brutality when we're very much still dealing with it and you don't got no smoke. You don't care. You don't care about the little girl in Chicago. Did you see that? Where the baby survived 100 shots to the car in the middle of the street?
They had the video. They had the video on it. I seen it.
No outrage. No concern.
None.
Chicago mayor marching up and down the
That's
street.
why I'm saying these cats got so much smoke for all this other shit. See, it's Trump. See, if Trump is they focus to bitch about whatever he got going on, and it's losing focus on what really needs to be going on in our own community. And that's why I don't care what anybody say about, well, you defend Trump. No, I'm just focused on us. You got Trump on your brain. He's living in y'all mind so much that you can't see what's going on out here with property taxes. You can't see what's going on out here with our community, 11-year-olds getting shot in your own city. You can't see what's going on because you too focused on other stuff. Let me address this real fast, Marquetta. I got to go. I should have been out of here at 3:30. Let me just,
I'll hang up and listen to you.
All right. Thanks, sis. Thanks for engaging with us. Appreciate you. That was Marquetta out of Houston. Carolyn Smith says, Wyatt, the conversation in LW chat is very different than what you hear on the radio. There are several different things being discussed on the chat, in the chat. LW choose not to read or discuss them. I'm just saying, I get it, but everybody not in the chat, Carolyn. If I'm in my car and I'm listening to it on the radio, I don't have the privilege of seeing a chat. See, if you're on Facebook Live, you're privileged, or on, I guess, on YouTube as well, you're privileged to see other people's opinion. But keep in mind, there's still people that watch traditional or listen to traditional radio, and they can't hear other people's opinion. They only have, and I can tell you the majority of people that watch that or listen to it are older people. They're not in the chat. This is a different generation that's in the chat. So if you're listening to this as a person, they're being captured by what they hear, not what they read. They don't know what's being, I don't know. If I'm listening to it on the radio on my way home, or, from the office, if I'm listening, I don't know what other people's opinion is. All I can hear is what the congressman is saying, what the feedback is from the host or whatever. And I'm like, damn, really? And think of how many older people are getting the same information that I'm getting because they're not in the chat. You see what I'm saying? So I'm sure, I would think, I'm not going back to the chat because, number one, I'm not really big on being bullied, or I'm not worried about being bullied, but I don't take bullying too well. See what I'm saying? A lot of people got a lot of shit to say these days. A lot of people got a lot to type and say on Facebook and these chats. They got a lot to say. But when it come down to seeing them, and I'm not saying that I'm no bad lion or no shit like that. I ain't no bully or nothing shit like, but they change their energy when they see you. That's why I don't take what people say personal. That's why when people say things and go in different directions and they disrespectful to get a ha-ha and a chi-chi out of everybody else, I don't trip on them. Because I know that if we was personal, like if we was sitting face to face, your energy wouldn't be the same. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing or saying what you're saying. A lot of people do that shit. I hear people, I see people. When I'm in sense, I see people. They be like, what up, Wyatt? What up? Wait a minute, hold on. I watch people change up. Like they look, there's people, Carolyn, there's people that watch this program right now, but they will lie. They will totally act like they don't know what you're talking about. They don't want any affiliation of what we doing over here. They don't want to act like they watch it. They don't want to act like they heard me say nothing. They think that they think that their way is the right way, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with your way being the right way for you. But some people would rather just act like they're avoiding the situation and don't want to be. And I respect that. I respect a person who don't come on the platform and just be talking shit or disagreeing and all that. And like, I don't watch shows that I don't like. I don't go off and watch shows that I know I'm going to disagree with the host all day. And I just don't do that. To me, I can't learn anything that way. When I watch John O'Brien, When I watch him and I listen to him, he's 10 years behind what I've already known. But just because I listen to him, it refreshes me. It refreshes what I know. I ain't gonna sit up there. I know some of the things that he's saying don't really it's not 2026able. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things that he say you can't do in 2026 to acquire the things that he's acquired. So I could really challenge what he says, but I don't, because I know there's somebody in there that needs that information. I'm not going to sit back and say, nah, you can't acquire property that way. You can't really do it like how he's saying, but I'm not going to stop somebody, because in that time frame in that attempt to do what they're trying to do, what he taught them, they're going to learn the right way. And it don't take me to say, no, don't do that. Do it this way. I'm not going to do that, because I respect his platform enough to say, hey, he's doing the right thing. He has the right, his intention is good. And the person that's listening to him is listening to him so they can educate themselves, and they're going to learn. They just may learn it in a different way, but they're going to follow his path of doing it. But I guarantee you, if they follow his path, by the end of the situation, they'll know the right way of how to do it. So how can I hate on that? I'm not. Vernon said this, and I'm going to go to the phone lines to take this last call. Pardon me. Y'all know I'm sick. I should have been out of here. Vernon says, I remember hearing over and over about this guy named Wyatt had a podcast. I finally asked, when does he come on? I've been hooked ever since. Damn, V, appreciate you, bro. Just when I think you're going to say some foul, wild, crazy shit, I'm just playing. But Vernon, if I may ask you, my friend, because Vernon had me blocked he didn't block me 3 times. I don't know what I've done to Vernon to be blocked so much, but he blocked me 3 times. Vernon, if I may ask you, my friend, before you get out of here and before we get out of here, let me ask you this one question, brother. As much as I respect you, I want a clear, honest answer. Why do you watch this show? Because I know that you watch other shows, and that's fine. But I would like an honest answer from you. Do you watch because I'm here talking about certain topics, or are you here sidebarring, talking to other people? Are you here capping with these folks and y'all joking? Are you here? Why are you here? Because a lot of people get upset when I be like, well, why are you here? Because I kind of mean that. Like, if you here just to disagree with me, that doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't do that. And I don't say everybody got to be like me. I'm not saying that. I just find it to be a little, I think it's like lightweight, some hater shit to go somewhere. I would never go to a heavy metal rock concert, sit in the stands and listen to the music and be bitching about it's too loud, or I don't like that guitar. this shit is crazy. No, my opinion is y'all should put Run DMC up there. I just don't enter buildings where I can't relate. That's why I asked the question, well, why are you here? You're not going to change my mind of what I'm talking about. I'm solid. So are you here to just infiltrate what I'm saying? Not you, Vernon. I'm just saying, for people that I asked that question to, are you here to try to prove me wrong in what I'm talking about? Well, you're never really going to do that, because like I said, most of the things that I talk about come from my experiences. You can't make my experience a lie. You can't make my experience not true. You can't make my experiences in life that you haven't seen not credible. You can't do that. I can sit back here and say John O'Brien, he be lying to y'all. He don't know what the fuck he talking about. And we got a lot in common. Him and I do. I would think a person that has something in common with him would be more credible. But now a guy that's ain't never done shit, don't even own his own home. Don't even own his own home. How you gonna say something about John O'Brien and how he get into the bag? See what I'm saying? How you gonna have something? You can say something, but in the world we live in 2026, that's called a hater. They say that a real hater is somebody that has a lot to say about some shit that they ain't got nothing to do with. That's what a hater, that's the definition. That's in a nutshell, that's what a hater. A hater is somebody that got something to say about some shit they ain't got nothing to do with. Let me read this one, and then I'm gonna go to Vernon, and then I'm gonna take this last call, okay? Carolyn Smith says, Wyatt, I never knew you were the rich guy. See, you know why they call it that? You know why they say that? Because that's derogatory to a bunch of people. Think of that, Carolyn, who don't want to be rich. Think about it. I'm talking about people who you're considered a bad guy because you're a rich guy. Think about that shit. Look at how their brain have been formed into believing that something that you would want to be in life is the bad guy, is the bad woman. Don't fuck with don't mess with Carolyn Smith. She's put too much work in her life. She's rich. She ain't shit. She thinks she know everything about getting money. She don't know how it is to be poor. She grew up in law homes. See how stupid that sounds? But they discredit you off of your achievements. That is the craziest. You know you're not dealing with somebody that's right. You know you're not dealing with somebody that's right. And here go the thing. It be influencers, people with the massive influence. They either call you what you do for a living or they call you the rich guy, whatever. See, because they got poor people thinking that rich people are evil. Think about that. I grew up in an era where you attach yourself to people that's getting to the things that you want to do in life. That's me. I've always tried to sponge off of people. I'm nosy. I'd never hate somebody that's living a life like I want to. Paul Wyatt, all these guys that I seen as mentors, you would never get me to hate that man, even when I didn't know him. I had an old guy tell me, you better stay away from that dude. I'm like, who? Him? First thing I want to know him. I want to know who the fuck that guy is. This was before I knew who Paul Wyatt was. One of my biggest mentors. Taught me almost damn near everything I know or how to learn. He taught me how to learn. And I'm telling you now, people will block you from your own blessings because they're not blessing that person. So when you hear this, Carolyn, oh, the rich guy, that's just a derogatory. Unless somebody taught you that being rich is a derogatory thing, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't talk down to people. I don't treat people like shit. And here's the number one thing, Carolyn, that they can't stand. I employ more black people than they do. Can't stand it. Let me read my man Vernon because he replied to me. He said, all the above, Wyatt. The conversation is mentally and intelligently stimulating, and the chat is humorous at times. I respect that, bro. You know why I respect that coming from Vernon? Because Vernon don't have no problem telling me when he don't agree with me. Vernon has no problem saying, nah, bro, it ain't like that. That ain't how it is. That I don't feel that way. Or he'll defend something that I'm putting down. Not necessarily putting down, but I disagree with. Vernon's probably one, and I'm not just saying this, he know, if he stopped blocking me, but he's one of the only ones that really will say, like, you're right. You know, you got a good point. You're right. Everybody else, they get quiet when shit get real. And when there's enough room for their opinion to opposite what I'm saying, then they'll get in there. But when I'm saying shit real, they're nowhere to be found. Now, are they, Vernon? Are they? Tell the truth. They're nowhere to be found, bro. All these niggas standing up there talking about we got to protect our black women. We got to protect our black women. You got 3 hoes and a side chick. We got to protect our black women. You got 6 kids and don't take care of none of them. We got to protect our black women. You ain't never been married. Fuck out of here. We got to protect our black women. We got to protect them. You out here going through black women. Fuck out of here with that. I ain't the one to be on no phony shit. We got to take care of our kids in our community. Try starting by taking care of your kids. Take care of your own. No, of course they don't like that type of conversation. You're stepping on too many toes when you talk like that. Because if you start there, all these other problems that exist might go away. If you have more fathers in these kids' lives, they might not be acting a fool downtown at Government Square. Because I know that a lot of kids that have fathers, when the father when the father put his foot down, the daughters act a certain way, the sons act a certain way. Nah, my daddy will kill me if I do that. You'll have a different outcome on a lot of these things. You wouldn't have to have a curfew center. You wouldn't have to pay $300,000 for a curfew center if more fathers was making sure that their kids was in the house. You get that phone, you get that homework done, boy? Yes, sir. But now we can't have them type of conversations because those type of conversations hurt. Those conversations hurt. I wish a dude would come in here talking about we need to protect our black people, our black women. How you gonna say that? I guarantee you, the lady you with ain't happy. Your latest ain't happy. Your past, certainly, she ain't happy. Your kids probably don't even know you. Fuck out of here. That's part of that 90% that I ain't going. I'm not going to entertain the bullshit, the liars. I'm not going to do it. Let me go to the phone lines. I got to get out of here. I got 8 minutes before we got to go. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, Wyatt?
Hey, twin. Damn, I didn't know you were alive today, bro. I thought you was asleep.
No, I was watching.
Or
I was
hibernating.
asleep for a little bit.
Thought you were in hibernation.
For a little bit.
Okay, what's good with
you?
What's on your mind,
I was
bro?
watching our TV.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was listening a little bit in and out, and I didn't know you was still on.
I'm still here, brother.
Caught the end of it and everything, but it's cool. I'll go back and listen though.
Okay.
And everything, but
you'll hear that I'm sick, twin. So bear with me, man. I'm all in my face.
Yeah, I heard it when you first came off. When you first came on, you look sick, man. From your face expression.
Well, damn, thank you. You look great today too, twin.
No, I'm saying the way,
I'm only kidding.
I'm just saying
my
about
eyes,
looking at you.
You're right. My eyes are bloodshot. I got bags under my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm looking one kind of way today. I don't feel good.
Yeah, but man, at least Vernon honest and everything, man.
Vernon Jordan.
And Vernon, he say what he want to say. I give him credit for that.
I got no problem.
How he feel. Oh no, I'm just saying there's grown folks. They ain't gotta be, oh nigga, F you and all that crazy stuff. He ain't never
been on that level. He ain't never been on that level.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At least he's being honest how he feel about you. Or, like I was when I told you, I wasn't feeling you at first, your podcast. Until I realized, time flowing days, and I grasped of what you was talking about. I like, he's speaking a different language.
Well,
but he on one.
Well, it's tough to hear things that people...
No, I was looking at the chat and why people was aiming at you. Coon and you Trumps and you this and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was confused a little bit, like, why are they? And I wasn't, texting and chatting and nothing that.
I feel
and I was just reading the comments. I'm like, why they aiming at dude like that?
Twin.
And so I had to realize as time flew, I'm like, oh, he's spending knowledge to me. These niggas ain't catching the wind up.
Well, twin, you know what? They called runaway slaves crazy.
Yeah.
They called people that ran away from plantations, they called them crazy.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want that bondage. They didn't want that type of shit. They just had to find they had to find their own freedom. And they would risk their life. And I'll be honest with you, I won't go to the extreme that I'm risking my life, but I am risking a lot more than the get along gang guy, the guy that's saying all the shit that y'all want to hear and not challenging our own people. You know what? I don't challenge white people because white people aren't part of we don't have to, You know what I'm saying, bro? It don't take white people for us to be successful. If we go open up a store tomorrow, if that market up in Avondale opens tomorrow, it don't take white people for that store to succeed. It take us.
Yeah.
And you know, we so big on wanting to be part of somebody else's shit that we lose focus of what our own thing is. And that's what burned me up about people. And then you the bad guy for expressing and telling the truth about being self-sufficient.
Yeah, and I was reading about Jesse Jackson, Jose Williams, who was right there when he got killed. But some of the chiefs and governors, when I was a shorty, even my brother and uncle was telling me how Snake, I hate to say it, how Snake what Jesse was, man. So he was dirty, he was a snake, and he said,
well, twin, let's do this.
They knew he had something to do with Martin Luther King getting killed.
Time. Let's at least bury him first.
Okay.
You feel me? Like that wound is the wound is way too fresh. And I respect you, but let's let the wound close first. I have my way, I have my way of what I know about it because how I was raised and how I was taught. And I was, I know what I know, but I'm not in a position. I don't want to step into that conversation, while the body is still here. And, I want to respect, and it'll be a month or two before I have a word to say about Jesse Jackson. I don't think Jesse Jackson was a bad guy. I think he utilized the tools that were given to him. That's just the bottom line.
Right. Then I was reading up on what's that dude out of New York? Madonna? What's that mayor out of there?
Oh, out of New York?
Man, I seen that today, and I'm like, he said he was gonna tax the rich. And he pump faked them crazy out them. You see that why?
It didn't take 45 days for reality to sit in.
And then check this out, Wyatt. Check this out. Man. And then I thought about down in Cincinnati, man. Like Steve Coakley said, Cincinnati 5 years behind. Here it is, 2026. Chicago did it about 4 years ago when they was Brandon Johnson giving the immigrants $51 million. Now look at Cincinnati. Talking about 300,000 to migrants now.
Well, here's the thing.
Man, this is crazy.
Here's what I challenge, and you can take this information wherever you want to take it for anybody. Here's my challenge, and this is why I don't really have conversations, because I make rhetorical statements. I already know the answers. Here's what I ask. The same people that told you about $300,000 in the city of Cincinnati going to illegal immigrants, find out how much of that $300,000 actually goes towards the immigrants versus the people that are working the program. So if you're given $300,000, see how much of that $300,000 is actually funding the purpose, the program itself. How much of that $300,000 will the immigrants see themselves versus putting money in somebody's pocket, such as an attorney, court fees, all the things that keep it's a money generating thing. You understand what I'm saying to you, twin? This is not for the livelihood.
You got to find out first, because $300,000, you got to see what type of, let's say, the building fund, some. You got to find out where is they pulling this money from, because lately, for the last couple of years, man, they've been coming up with some money that, I don't know, they came up with some money so quick, like a couple of million out of nowhere when they said they was broke and everything. So I want to know where they pulling it from. Like you said, what's the name of the fund y'all getting it from?
It doesn't
the
matter.
The Right Fund or Mayor Affleck Fund or what?
I can tell you what fund it's coming from. I don't know exactly locally, but I will say this. I know for a fact that it's taxpayer dollar. Now, I don't care if it's state, federal, local, it's taxpayer dollar. And that's the only thing that matters to me. I don't like when taxpayer dollars go towards programs where their executives are making way more money than what they're actually doing for the community or the people that they're talking about. You understand what I'm saying?
You got some 1 minute, because you got to go.
No, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to give you your time. You got some people that run these 501c or these nonprofit organizations making $500,000 a year in salary.
Yeah. Making
$250,000 in salary. Okay, and some of y'all might be like, but that's my point. Why, if you care so much, why you paying yourself so healthy? when that money could actually go towards the program, building it, making it better and bigger, because it's just a play on money. That's all it is, bro. Yeah. They make more money doing that than they can do in the private sector. That's why they do it.
Yeah. But Wyatt, I'm gonna close with this. You see how fast that owner said I'm about to shut this bar down?
Yeah.
That community in Northside strong, ain't it, man?
Well,
let me tell you this.
Yeah.
It used to be a club horizontal straight across the street from it, diagonal, whatever. It's called 360. About 10, 15 years ago, somebody got bodied there. One got killed I was there that night. One got killed on a pool table. Other one got shot right there in a walkway when you go in and, pitch it down and all that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the same bar, but it was across the street. And I'm like, something about the shape over here. Lord behold, look what happened on the news. And that's what happened, man. It's sad. And that landlord, which is owned by some LLC, some type of local investors, whatever, group here and everything. And he's like, hell with this. I'm shutting this. I gotta shut this down. Well, and they knew Northside was, Northside quiet, man. Really?
Right. Let me just say this about them shutting these clubs down. I don't know why they think that's the answer. Okay. I don't know why you're shutting down clubs unless you see that the club is doing something that's enhancing the violence. Okay. If they're not patting people down, if they're allowing drugs to come in intentionally, if they're doing certain things that has encouraged the violence. Here's what's going to happen. What's the name of that place? Spotlight?
Spotlight Lounge.
It's going to be dark room tomorrow somewhere else. The same people that effed up that place there going to be at the next spot. You can keep changing the name and changing the places that they go. It has nothing to do with that. It's like gun violence. Stop calling gun violence. Stop calling shit gun violence. That's a violent person problem. You can't change locations and think the people going to change. That same group of people that's willing to shoot and do all that old crazy shit, as soon as they hear about the next hot spot, they'll be there. That's not how you change your city. You have to enforcement is of people. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that you got to be enforceable on people because it's the people that had enforcing guns, saying, hey, we got to stop these guns from getting inside of the city. You got to work on the people. You got to change the people's mentality of wanting to use a gun and be so violent and using knives. Just saying, hey, that club just ended some violence in the city of Cincinnati. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's like saying, I had to tell my daughter's boyfriend he ain't welcome here no more and he can't be in her life no more, as if that's going to make her not like boys anymore. She going to get another boyfriend. She going to do what boys and girls do, right? Me getting him out of the way don't mean she ain't going to stop doing what she do. And that's the same thing with these nightclubs. You gotta raise these people to be respectable people, and they gotta go out into respectable places. Yeah. And that's the bottom line. They'll be changing signs on these clubs for the next 50 years, and nothing will ever change. You can change laws and rules and zoning sections and all that shit. The mentality will go where the door is open to them.
Yeah, because dude was telling me this morning when I got off, one of the vendors, he was like, man, my daddy got a bar and stuff in Kentucky. I said, is it still open? He said, no. I said, why you won't open it up? He said, man, with the crowd that's here now and what be going on in Kentucky, I'm cool. I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
I don't blame the bars. Some of them they have some liability issues with over, maybe underage drinking, underage, attendance, stuff like that. But for the most part,
say, Wyatt, it's the people, man.
Of course.
Because it's the people. Because you got, just say, for instance, why you from down the way and all that, and you in tour with guys in, say, in Wind Terrace or something. Now that you see you in there, now Twin gets shot because of Wyatt's stupidity when he can just handle that somewhere else, downtown or Wind Terrace. Right. So that's how they do it, man. Catch they up outside or whatever, they get their little chirp on their phone or hit them on the horn like, hey, fam, he up here right now. He with a girl, and then, that's how the shooting and all that goes on.
Now,
So
let me
they
say
can't
this.
catch you nowhere else. They catch you in a club or somewhere, and somebody get that chirp.
That's the reason why when young men, people that I know, when they come to me with a business plan or a proposition of some sort, and it's about opening up a spot, because that's what they call them, spot. They want to get a little club with some food. They want to have entertainment. They want to. I already know to say no. I tell them no. I don't even need to see your blueprint. I don't need to see anything. I don't involve myself. I got a buddy of mine who was in the nightclub business for years, did well financially. He was in business with a former Bengal, and they did well. They had a 40 and over, I believe, a 40 or 30, or I think it was 40.
It was 35.
It might have been 35 and up. I don't know.
I know what you're talking about. It was 35.
But they did good numbers. They didn't have any problems or violence or anything like that. If I was to get into any nightclub business or anything, which is a very far-fetched for me, I would open a club or a night spot that was 50 and up. And that's only because I just don't trust people.
You said 50 and up?
Bruh, and you gotta bring your motherfucking ID. You understand? I don't care how much gray hair you got on your head.
You have the senior citizen convention.
You damn right. Because the senior citizens ain't gonna cause no problems. I don't trust 30-year-olds. I don't trust 40-year-olds. I don't trust none of them.
Cadillac shoes.
I don't trust none of them. Come on, Mama Birch. Get that blue dress and come on down to the Wyatt spot.
Hey, my brother love your spot. Your Cadillac shoes and all that.
All that, bro. I gotta have a spot where people are just done with the dumb shit. You understand?
Yeah, that's
like
true,
dumb.
Man.
And see, I can't find myself to invest in something. I don't care how much money it generates. I don't see why you would have to be, and this is gonna sound crazy, don't sound bad. You would have to be a damn fool to open up a nightclub in an era like now, especially in the cities where the police got a problem with the people. The city is just not really like, I don't like how certain parts of the city is managed when you have fake leaders. They're never going to have the backs of the police officers. They're never going to be able to enforce certain things. They got bad judges. It's just too much going on for you to want to open up a club in an area that is going to eventually shut down and close because dumb shit is coming. Because if somebody get locked up on a Friday night at your club, based on how the court system works in Cincinnati, there's a strong possibility that knucklehead will be back on Saturday the next night at your club. And it might not be it might not be a pleasant situation. You got judges setting bonds, basically nothing, violent offenders getting out. I mean, I know, I see it. I know what's going on, and I don't even talk about it. But when you start seeing guys getting shot out on Thursday nights downtown Cincinnati, and they're getting shot 32 times, bro, that's somebody that should have never been out on the street. That's a retaliation shooting. You know that, twin. That's somebody that's getting shot up because he either got a pending case. There's some shit going on out here, and people just they're not paying attention. Y'all focus on all this other shit. I know what the focus is on, but it's all the wrong stuff. And you can't save the world, twin. You can only give people the information. If they want to hear you, they can hear you. But if they not listening, brother, they just not listening. They can keep on being mad at what they want to be mad at.
All right, then, Wyatt. Take care. See you tomorrow.
All right, brother. I appreciate you, man. See you tomorrow. Thanks for engaging with us. That was Twin. Hey, that's my time, y'all. I gotta lay down. I'm about to take a shower. I gotta lay down, man. It's been a long one for me today. I'm surprised I was able to stick this one out till 4:00. Trust me, I really only had an hour in me, but thanks to the family, y'all always keep me up and hyped. Even the haters. Peace and love to everybody, man. I'll talk to you guys later. Please don't ever ask me to invest in a club, night spot. It ain't gonna happen. Peace and love to everybody.
I need 100 black covers for 100 bad men, 100 black grapes so I can lay they ass in. I need 100 black preachers preachers with a black sermon to tell from 100 black Bibles. Why we send them all to hell? I need 100 black coffins. Black coffins. Black coffins. I need 100 black coffins. Black coffins. Oh Lord. Black coffins. I need 100. I seen 100 niggas die. I put that on my life. Lord, I wouldn't tell a lie unless it had to do with mine. In the middle of the night, killers coming for your life. All he wanna do is shine. I broke off the chains, only the realest remain. See you praying to Jesus, but will that help ease the pain? Seen a brother get slain for a jar full of change. Yet I post on the block, look like I'm Big Daddy Kane. Is you a cat or a mouse? Keep them rats out the house. Lot of scars on my back, tattoos all around. 100 dead bitches, 100 black coffins, money on his head, bitch, I'm trying to make a fortune. I need 100 black coffins for 100 bad men, 100 black grapes so I can lay they ass in. I need 100 black preachers with a black sermon to tell from 100 black Bibles. Why we send them all to hell? I need 100 black coffins, black coffins, black coffins. I need 100 black coffins, black coffins. Oh Lord, black coffins. I need 100. I seen 100 women burn as they stood firm. Treat a nigga like a germ. What did she do to deserve? Put me on the farm, pigs feet in a jar. Serve it to me warm. Any questions they hang them. Better pray for Django. Got me working in fields. Too many years it get fatal. All I want is my woman. Such a wonderful mother. On the days that it rained, her smile bright like the summer. My revenge is the sweetest. Bitch, cause I'm coming. Gotta die in my arms for what you did to my mother. 100 dead bitches, 100 black coffins, 12 gauge shotgun, chest full of copper. I need 100 black coffins for 100 bad men, 100 black grapes so I can lay they ass in. I need 100 black preachers with a black sermon to tell from 100 black Bibles. Why we send them all to hell? I need 100 black coffins, black coffins.